Alrighty. Welcome everybody. In whichever way you're listening to this, via cellular device, up on the roof of a house with fucking TV antennas. No joke, my dad has TV antennas that he steals free cable from. Radio broadcast, whatever, however you're listening to this. Thank you so much for tuning in to Ep.3 of the Glad to Meet You podcast. And for those of you that means 3 for those of you that don't speak Spanish. As you can tell by my wonderful ability to roll the R's. Underdog.
Espanol.
Yo, first of all, thank you for hanging out today.
Absolutely.
Appreciate putting some time to the side. But can you roll your R's? I'm curious.
I don't know, can I?
I don't know. Ooh. Kind of sounds like you're seducing me with like a kitty purr. Hey.
I would never do that.
Hey, Glad.
And then just throw a belch on the end of it.
Here, ready? You get the belch, I'll get the purr. Ready? Hey, Underdog.
Yeah.
That was so weak.
I waited too long. I digested.
No, I don't think you waited too long. I think you prematurely ingested the air. That's what you did.
Probably.
Here, get me ready. I'll get the burp.
All right. Hey, Glad. I like the way you look over there.
God damn. Mine wasn't much better. Dude, but
it took longer, but it sounded better.
Dude, I did the same thing. I didn't know you were gonna throw in all these extra words, and I was like, "Oh God, he's making this difficult for me to hold in the fucking air."
Yeah, you fucked me. You fucked me, bro.
Yeah, but mine was short and sweet. Mine was like, "Hey, Underdog." Yours was like, "Hey, Glad, how you doing?" The "how you doing" threw me off. Dude,
belch on command. That's impressive.
Yeah, pretty much. Dude, why is it so I'm thinking about like rolling R's. Why does it seem like every other language or a lot of other languages have like these cool sounds to them, like romantic sounds, like, you know, like Spanish and shit. They got the rolled R. Like, we don't fucking roll R's. And if you go to like, all right, so I'm gonna try to like not sound like a racist piece of shit, but that's a good way to start a sentence. All right, before I say what I want to say, I'm gonna try to not sound like a racist piece of shit. All right, if you go to like fucking India or China or something, or like any Asian country, like when you're there, you know, even if you don't speak an Asian language, you know that language is an Asian language, you know. Like
sure.
you can clearly identify the sound of an Asian language. You can clearly identify the sound of like different languages. What I always wonder, like, you ever think about what people that don't speak English natively, how English sounds to them?
I think they think it sounds cool like we think their shit sounds cool. Like,
Yeah.
I had this 8th grade teacher that told me that he went to China and they had like t-shirts that said shit in English on them, like spaghetti. And he asked them why, and they're like, the letters look cool.
The letters look cool?
Yeah, and they had no idea what it said. They could have said like child rapist on it, and they would have been like, cool letters, man.
But you think they think that our language actually sounds like fucking sick? Like, dude, that sounds so romantic. English. It sounds so poetic and pretty and beautiful.
Well, it doesn't have to be poetic and pretty and beautiful or romantic to be cool. Like, I think they like Southern accents because it sounds like, you know, Western spaghetti, shoot 'em up, you know, like Clint Eastwood and shit. All
right, so I guess you could argue some of the hardcore, like, I guess it's weird for me to say this, but like I feel like I have a pretty standard English accent. I don't feel like I have any extreme in any sense. And
yeah,
I often wonder, like, if somebody hears me talk that doesn't understand English, what goes in their ears? Like I feel like it's just some shit that is just gibberish. Like oh god, I'm not even gonna try to do this. Actually, I am. Like I feel like people hear shit that sounds like this. Like a recum, a crop door, a leakik I am. Just like complete nonsense that doesn't really make like any fucking sense, and it doesn't really have any roll off the tongue.
Well,
No.
like, I mean, just a regular American accent isn't that exciting, so they'd probably hear it and just kind of ignore it. Like, if you live in like California or Texas, you're around enough Mexicans that you hear Spanish all the time and you just ignore it because it doesn't sound cool anymore.
Yeah.
But like a regular standard American accent is what you see on like all TV shows and shit, and they're either reading subtitles or listening to a dub, so they probably just hear it and goes in one ear and out the other.
Probably. Just like I would if somebody was spitting gibberish in my direction.
That's what Russian sounds like to me. It sounds like the dumbest fucking language ever.
Um, when's the last time I heard like somebody speak fluent Russian to me? I don't know. I hear German all the time. German just sounds angry.
Well, they're very precise. Like Indica, I'll tell you, everything that they say is like super specific.
Yeah, that's true.
Like where you would call it a car, they're like a machine with four wheels and engine.
What the fuck? A machine with four wheels
Germans
in
are
it.
very precise.
Rectangular shaped thing in front of me that displays screens while I play video games. You mean
I
monitor?
think that's the. I think that's what Volkswagen means.
Jesus. But anyway, dude, what's good? What you been up to?
Just fucking killing it, man. I mean,
Just
I
killing
just
life.
posted again. Yeah, I just posted on like Facebook and Reddit my update with everything. That it's been 16 months, and as of today, it's actually 184 pounds that I've lost.
What the
Um,
fuck?
yeah, dude. Like, I don't know. I was exercising a lot up until a couple of weeks ago. I dislocated my knee while I was at jiu-jitsu class. Like the first class I went to after I got my blue belt, I blew my knee out. So I've just kind of been like doing sit-ups and shit in my living room like a creep.
Dude, you're about to hit
Yeah.
the big 200.
I got a little ways to go. I mean, 268's cool and all, but I don't know. With my frame and everything, I'll get down to 220, and I'll probably start to plateau off and have to go get some skin removed or something gross.
Yeah. Dude, that's nuts though. So you fucking that's like mind blowing. Did you ever think that you would do that? Like if somebody walked up to you 2 years ago and was like, "Yo, so are you excited to lose 200 plus pounds?" What would you have said?
Dude, I was literally eating like Hot Pockets and pizza rolls and shit every day. Literally saying to myself, like, well, I guess I have to just accept the fact that I'm fat because I'm never going to actually work hard enough to get down that far. I was just like so miserable with my situation and everything that I just kind of had no hope for the future. And then I finally got out of that situation and I was like, wait, no, that's not true.
So what was your peak weight?
452.
452. So
Yeah,
you
I
mentioned
was
that
wearing
that
I was wearing like a 4X t-shirts, size 54 jeans.
oh
I just
gosh.
found an old pair of jeans yesterday and like I put them on and literally I could fit like myself and like Brian in the pants.
Dude, I could probably fit in there with you. We can have a jeans
Oh,
party.
you, and like a toddler. Easy.
Dude, that's crazy though. So I guess for like everybody that's listening, I think a big question on people's minds is how the fuck does somebody who you mentioned hopeless and just feeling like you kind of want to give up and that you're this fat and that there's no way that anything's going to change or that you're ever going to be motivated. How do you go from that to talking to me today and saying 184 pounds down, another fucking 50, 60 to go yet easily?
Get divorced.
Yeah.
Marriage is cancer.
I concur.
Being married to somebody that makes you feel like shit all the time is definitely a good way to make yourself miserable. I got out of that relationship and away from all those people. And once I was out on my own, like I thrive better on my own, I guess. And I just saw, I got into keto, saw that, you could eat meat and stuff, all the foods that I really like besides pizza. And it was like, oh, well, it's perfect.
And you can even still eat pizza. You can just do the cauliflower kind.
Yeah, but my thing is like with the keto diet, there's all these little workarounds and like fancy fucking like, oh, you can have fudge, but there's fat in it. Like I just feel like that's cheating without cheating, and that's a slippery slope. The one day you're eating a piece of fat fudge, and the next day you're eating a fucking bucket of ice cream. You might as well just stick to meat and veggies.
Yeah, that's true. But some of these fudges are really good, though. I mean, I read a lot of good things about the health benefits of like chocolate to your body and fudge. And I mean, I'm sure that there is a clear difference between dark chocolate that you can eat that physicians say is healthy for you and like fat fudge, so to speak. Um,
I just don't trust myself.
yeah, no, fair enough, dude. That's fucking willpower out the ass, which is definitely something over the past. How long you been doing it for?
16 months.
16 months. Well, over the past
November 2016.
I've definitely noticed over those 16 months that you have fucking greater willpower than my own, man. fucking
I've had 4 cheat meals in almost a year and a half.
yeah, and how many were under the influence of alcohol?
2.
Okay, so half of them. You look at it like that.
I mean, I got really drunk one night and ate like 2 or 3 big slices of an extra large pizza. But whatever.
Dude, you know what the thing is though? You've been so hardcore and so dedicated and so passionate about the lifestyle change. And yes, I don't consider keto a diet. I don't consider it even a meal plan. It's a fucking way of life because it just changes everything. But we'll get into that. Um, I bet you were so hardcore in keto and so like dedicated that those 3 slices of pizza probably didn't even do anything.
Well, one of my cheat meals, I actually had 2 slices of regular large pizza, and I just like fasted the next day until about noon, and I checked, and I was still pissing purple. If anybody knows what that means.
This in purple. Explain that just so people know what I'm talking about.
Some people in the keto dieting / lifestyle community get these little test strips that you can pee on, kind of like a pregnancy test, but much smaller. And you piss on the strip and you hold it up to the little bottle. And if it changes from any color, like light pink to light purple to dark purple, and then like damn near black if you're fucking gimpy.
Yeah, dude,
it,
those strips just
that
melt.
tells they just kind of tell you where you are as far as your ketones in your body, which is not entirely accurate because if you're overhydrated, underhydrated, it
Yeah,
can mess with it. But it's a decent little like keep
yeah.
track of where you are type of tool.
I agree. It's not a good judgment on how deep you are in ketosis. That the best thing to do for that is to fucking take blood out of your body. Because
Hmm.
that directly measures the blood ketone levels. But the cool things about the strips is it lets you know that your body is actively producing an excess of ketone bodies. And for
Yeah,
me, yeah. And for me, like not wanting to spend the investment or, get the equipment needed to take these blood tests, which is probably not that big of a hassle anyway. I'm just lazy. The fact that you can just stop, oh, hey, I'm at fucking the convenience store. Oh, let me pick these up. It's just so easy to get. It's right there. You know what I mean? And you pee on these things, and it's just, when it turns purple, damn, like because the reason that the ketones come out in your urine is because all excess ketone bodies that are produced by your liver come out of your urine and are excreted as waste. So it's a really good thing. It's a good confidence booster. Like, nothing makes you feel better than peeing dark purple, but nothing also makes you feel shittier when you feel like you're doing well and then you pee and it's like a peach or like a yellow and
yeah.
you're like fuck.
That's why I've kind of considered stopping using them because I drink way more water than most people,
Yeah,
like well over a gallon a day.
so you're saturating it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's good though. Water's fucking. I used to not drink that much water, but ever since getting into the keto lifestyle, I got into it. Oh God. I guess this summer will be 3 years for me.
Damn.
Yeah. Um.
You're like so fucking lean though. Like your abs are so hard, and like you don't do ab workouts or exercises or anything like that. You just kind of like walk, hike, and
Yeah.
eat keto, and your abs are like little fucking stones on your stomach.
I mean, it like. I guess that's what happens when you get below 10%, 10% body fat. I mean,
That's what I'm going for, baby.
oh, dude, it's tough, man. It's really tough to stay below 10 consistently. Because once you start dropping into the 8 range, I mean, you're real like your skin everywhere on your stomach. Like you can grab the skin by your belly button, and it's basically like paper. You know, like it just pulls out like paper, and you can like stretch it, and you can stick a finger through it, and you can see your fingernail through your skin on your stomach. Like, you know what I mean? People don't realize when people are that low body fat, like how low that actually is. It's actually really dangerous to get into the like 5% lower range. I mean,
Yeah, that's just for professional like bodybuilders and
yeah,
stuff.
and even bodybuilders, I would say, when they do shows, I would say your average professional bodybuilder is probably like 6%, 5%, like
Sounds about right.
during a show. Now there are people that have gotten down into like the 3 and the 2%, and the thing is, if you look up any of those guys' profiles, they extremely unhealthy, don't feel good about themselves, don't have any confidence, serious health issues. Like that is just not a healthy way to live.
Now you're depleting your body of like essential vitamins and stuff like that.
Yeah. But I think we should inform a little bit about the keto. I'll give you the reins if you want, like the basics, unless you want me to explain.
Well, I mean, the essential idea, without getting too complicated, which can scare a lot of people off if you like start throwing out all these percentages and like
For sure.
fancy names for vitamins and shit like that. But essentially, the idea is that you eat a lot of fat, a medium amount of protein, and a very low amount of carbohydrates, which can vary between people, especially like with women. They'll eat a lot less calories per day than guys will, but you know, the general idea is like 60 to 70% fat, like 20-ish% protein. I lean on the heavier side of protein, and then like 10% to 5% carbs. And you really want to get all your carbs from vegetables. You don't really want to play around with like eating a slice of toast just for your carbs for the day. You're much better off just having, you know, some green beans or some shit like that.
Or nuts.
Nuts are a great way, yeah, too.
Yeah.
And they're actually not as expensive anymore as they used to be, especially pistachios.
Bro, let me tell you about the fucking price of the nuts at the store. I went to the store today, I told you, and I did some grocery shopping. I can't believe that nuts are like $12.99 a pound. If you want to get macadamia nuts, the macadamia nuts at the grocery store near me, 2 of them actually, right across the street from each other, they're like $13.99 a pound.
I can't remember if it's macadamia nut. No,
macadamia nuts are the most expensive by far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Those are the ones that they like fatten up pigs with and shit, or like they bait them to kill them, I think.
Yeah, they're the fattiest nuts. They're the best nuts for keto. That's why I get them, but I don't like getting them because every time I do, it's like, oh, here's my bag of nuts, and I see my total on the cash register is like $50, and then she scans the nuts through, and it's like 87. And I'm like, what?
Jesus.
$37 in fucking nuts? Are you kidding me? These nuts better. I don't even know. These nuts better just rest on my face and just give me like the Roman helmet. They better grow a dick and just start like fucking my throat while I'm eating them, because that's so ridiculous, dude. $37, I may as well just go to the corner and buy a fucking prostitute at that point.
But there's gonna be no hair on these nuts.
Yeah, no, but seriously, they're amazing. They're my favorite nut by far because they're kind of sweet. That's what I like about them.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like the cashews too. I think cashews have like a little sweetness to them.
they do, but cashews are. I don't like cashews for keto. Cashews are
Oh, I
not.
don't fuck with.
Yeah, they're too high in protein and they're too low in fat, and they have too many carbs. They're just like a shitty balance.
Honestly, I eat pretty much the same thing every day. That's like a lot of people ask me like, "Well, what kind of meals do you have? And like, you have any ideas for like meal prep stuff?" I'm like, "Dude, honestly, I'm a fucking boring person. I eat the same foods every day. Summer sausage, pork steak, like either tomatoes or cucumbers. Those are the only fucking vegetables I eat during the week. On the weekend, I'll eat peppers and shit like that, but during the week, it's literally like for breakfast, what'd you have? Pork steak. For lunch, what'd you have? Summer sausage. And I
Dude,
just skip dinner and have a snack later.
dude, I'm laughing because you're hitting home so hard. People. One of the main reasons. So like, I preach keto. Like they fucking pay me to, and I've probably gotten like 20 or 30 people to try it, and I would say maybe 20% of people actually stick around. And one of
Mm.
the biggest complaints is I just get tired of eating the same thing all the time. And and for me, like I'm like, dude, I could literally eat pork and steak every single fucking day for every meal, the same foods every like all the time and never get tired of it because that's how much
And
I
I do.
fucking love meat. I've been eating fucking steak and pork for 3 years. That's all I eat. I don't even really eat vegetables and I'll be honest with you. I'm dead serious. I don't have I didn't buy any vegetables today when I went to the store and I spent $300 on groceries. But it's like,
Have you ever,
what?
have you ever done like asparagus with olive oil and Parmesan cheese in the
Oh,
oven?
oh, dude. So when Death came to visit me, we cooked we did asparagus and Brussels sprouts, I think. When Death and Travis
Yes.
came, and we fucking like cuz I was trying to teach Death about how I eat my keto foods, and I was like, dude, put some olive oil in there, and he started putting some olive oil in the pan, and I looked at it and I was like, bro. I was like, put some olive oil on there. He's like, dude, I put it all over the place. It's like a light trinkle, like that zigzags back and forth. I'm like, You see the bottle, how it is now? See how full it is? Half that. I want it to be half that when you're done. And I'm like, create a puddle in the bottom. I want those things to be soaking up so much olive oil that when I eat them, I'm gonna immediately get a fucking heart disease. Like, but but nah, it's
Well,
what's that?
Death is a pussy. We all know that.
Yeah, no, that's a bitch. He ain't even gonna
He
hear this.
couldn't do keto. He's Mr. Hard ass
No.
military bodyguard fucking gun guy, and he couldn't even handle like 2 weeks of keto.
Mm-mm. Here's the thing about him. So I had a friend, Zach, and he came up to me and was complaining about his weight. He was like, I just don't have like quite the leanness that I want. But he's also all about strength. So I told him that he should try this keto thing. At that time, I had been doing it for about 2 months, so I was like pretty new in it, but I was seeing insane results. And I told him, I was like, dude, this is not going to make you like bigger or stronger, but it's going to cut all of the fat off of the areas where you don't want the fat. If that's your primary goal, like for people listening, if you're looking to get into keto, it is for two people. Primarily, it's for tons of people, but primarily there's two reasons that people do keto outside of medical purposes. One is endurance athletes. It's really good for sustained low intensity exercises. So like, rowing, marathons, cardio, things like that. It's great for that. It is terrible for high intensity weightlifters. So people that are looking to just like throw up as much weight as they can because you'll fucking black out. It's not good for that. That's what carbohydrates are for. You can't put a whole basketball team on keto and expect them to. And then the second type of person is somebody that's looking to lose fat. So if you don't really want to lose too much muscle, you want to sustain your lean muscle mass, but you want to lose all of the fat on your body, keto is absolutely perfect for you. And that's why most people do it. And I told him that, and I was like, if you're looking to lose your fat, this is perfect. And he does it, and he was like, I'm getting weaker in the gym. And I'm like, dude, I told you it's not like, I did not recommend this for you to get bigger and faster and stronger. You said that you were concerned about fat on your body, so I recommended something to get rid of fat. And he just like couldn't fucking handle it. And he was struggling so bad on a daily basis and was like getting all like lightheaded. And I'm like, yeah, you're just not doing it right or something. I don't know. I never have lightheaded issues. Do you?
Um, I don't really unless I like because I do jujitsu. I get
Yeah.
into really intense rolls and stuff. Like when I go to
Uh,
stand up afterwards, occasionally I'll lose my balance. One time I blacked out and kind of hit the deck, but that
mm-hmm.
was at a competition. But yeah, I mean, my endurance is way better. And that's the thing. If you're doing something like jujitsu where it's, typically a long, sustained battle going back and forth, eventually you don't have to use much explosive energy because you're using your technique and whatnot. So
Mm-hmm.
you need more endurance than you do explosive energy. But that's the whole point in carbohydrates is it stores its
Exactly.
what the fuck's the word?
Glycogen?
The sugar that yeah, I think it is glycogen. I think
Yeah.
it stores that in your muscles and it uses it for explosive energy. So if you're gonna go
Mm-hmm.
like do some crazy deadlifts or play football, then yeah, it makes sense to eat carbs before you work out, not all day.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna, like you said, running a marathon or something like that, if your body's living off of fat, it, eats the fat slower.
Yeah, for sure. And then essentially just continuing a little bit more about how keto works. So basically, you heard Underdog talking about carbohydrates. Most people eat a lot of carbohydrates to the point where carbohydrates become their primary energy source stored on their body. What keto does is, since you are depleting your body of essentially all carbohydrates, when you look at percentages, it's pretty much nilch. Um, and you're eating so much fat, your liver creates ketone bodies, and that becomes your primary source of energy. And what that does is your fat is now so any fat that's stored on your body is now your primary energy source instead of carbohydrates. So if you have fat on your stomach, fat on your face, fat on your sides, fat on your ass, and you go do a workout or just walk around, blah blah blah, going shopping, whatever, you're always burning fat first. Fat is just being cut off. And it's crazy when you're deep in ketosis. Would you agree with me, Underdog? You can almost just like feel it. Like you
Oh
feel
yeah.
your body is so optimized and so efficient, and you just feel clean, and you're not bloated, and you're not inflated with water. It's just a very nice, pure, clean feeling. And the reason for that is because you're essentially in a state of fasting. So your body pretty much is mimicking what your body would do if it was in a state of starvation. However, you have lots of nutrients in your body. You're eating tons of calories every day. You're supplying your muscles with protein. Like, you're not starving, but your body thinks it is. And it's cool. It's a good feeling. I highly recommend it. I could not recommend it any more than anybody on
Yeah,
this
it's
earth.
kind of like an evolutionary thing. If you think about it, if think about humans before civilization, if you were living, in the wild and you're hunting, the more hungry you are, the better you are at hunting. And that's just kind of like an evolutionary advantage, and especially a lot of scientists say that, one of the humans' main strategies for hunting was endurance. So like
Yeah.
you can't run as fast as a deer, but if you can track the deer, you can run longer than the deer. And if your body is feeding on fats, like it would be if you were hungry, starving, fasting, however you want to put it,
Yep.
you'll eventually run that deer down and fuck it and then eat it in that order.
Yeah, and that's very true. And that's if you look at why humans are built for like running and marathons, it's because we're just naturally built for long endurance races like that. And it's interesting to think about, like, we're humans before like modern day technology and the modern lifestyle. We're most humans in ketosis, like all the time, really, because
Yeah, I mean,
you,
fruits and stuff like that were way more rare.
yeah, I mean, and you obviously, all processed canned food is just non-existent. Like, cans don't even exist yet. You're basically eating as much as you can at a time, and then, like, how I don't really know like what was the time period before humans ate their next meal, like how consistent were meals for humans like way back then, because that's the whole thing with ketosis too, is it supports like intermittent fasting, and that was something that was definitely going on with those types of humans back in the hunter gatherer days. So it's interesting to think about that. It almost takes you to a very primal state of mind, which is another thing I like about it.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's hard to tell because it varies. If you're in like a tribe that was really successful at hunting, you'd eat
Yeah,
more
for sure.
often. But you know, same strokes, different folks, all that shit.
Yeah, definitely. Um, have you ever heard of the the stoned ape theory?
Yeah, where they think that chimpanzees ate mushrooms out of cow shit, and that's how they got their brains bigger.
I mean, essentially, it was a theory that was proposed by psychonaut and philosopher. The fuck is his? I just had his name in my head. Um,
It's
uh,
not Timothy Leary. It's the
no,
other
no,
guy,
no, no. I literally just had his name in my head, but I said the word psychonaut.
Terrence McKenna.
Terrence McKenna. Yep, Terrence McKenna. So he's actually really fucking cool and really inspirational and very intelligent. But he used psychedelic substances to learn about the world, about himself, about evolution, about theories, and he would just take these psychedelic drugs, and he would sit in his room and turn off all the lights and all sound and just basically put himself in a deprivation tank, a self-deprivation tank, and take high amounts of drugs and just like wander in his brain and think about all these things, and you would have these crazy epiphanies, and it's actually really cool to listen to him talk about his trips on like mushrooms and DMT and stuff like that. um but he has a famous theory called stoned ape theory, and it sounds like ridiculous, but if you really think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Now, I wouldn't go as far to say that stoned ape theory is the number one reason for human evolution, but I truly believe that it played a role in human evolution and development to some extent. And like you said,
I mean,
he go ahead.
sorry, every culture across pretty much the entire planet has used different psychedelic drugs to try to expand their mind or seek answers from what they consider the gods. You go
Mm,
down to South America, they have ayahuasca. Into the desert, they had peyote. And like in the Middle East, they have crazy shit over there that we probably haven't even heard of yet that they all used and like tribal shamanistic ceremonies and shit like that to try to expand their minds.
yeah, for sure. And and it's just been something that has been around for so long, and that there's evidence that it was definitely used. And Terrence McKenna basically says that, same time period that we were talking about before, hunter gatherers, when we tracked down herds, when we would follow herds of animals, because we knew that cattle grazed and they would always go to where there was food and water, so we would follow animals because it was a smart thing to do. And mushrooms grow out of shit, or like that's one of the ways that they can grow, and it became part of the diet. So humans were eating, or pre Homo erectus. I guess no. I guess at that point they would have been Homo erectus. I'm not real good with the exact scientific terms to be, but
Homo erectus is what you get whenever you look at Doug naked.
Jesus, most likely. But so the mushrooms became a part of the diet, and what happened was when they were eating these mushrooms, they were taking them in like smaller doses, and it created a community and a sense of and a sense of love and togetherness, and like these groups of people, tribes, whatever you want to call them, were just experiencing such like God, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like
I don't know.
I don't even know. Like
Community,
yeah, synchronicity, is that even a word? Um with
synchronicity.
with each other, and it was enabling them to become more efficient at making babies, and everything was shared, and everything was everybody's, and they just worked so well as a community, and there wasn't really a struggle for power or anything like that. And when you take these small amounts of psychedelics, he explains that there's increases in visual and auditory acuity, and all your senses become slightly like sharper and everything like that. And then there was a point where there was so like, how do we get to where we are today? There was a point where there was a downfall, in a decrease in these mushrooms. Foods change with the climate and with the times, and when mushrooms went out of the human diet, um, then there was that sense of togetherness and community started to pull apart. Now, instead of like, this is my wife, this is my baby, or like, this is our community, this is our baby, this is our house. Now it was like, get away, this is my baby, this is my wife. And then that's when the power struggles started to emerge, and people started claiming things and not sharing as much, and people always wanted to be better, and then competition started arising. And that's slowly how like we became the humans that we are today, which is a world that is just run by competitive powerhouses. And it's really, I mean, that's a very summarized version of what he says, but he explains it all in a lot of detail, and it's actually a pretty interesting read. So I would check out Stoned Ep.3.
It's kind of hard to tell what's better, what's worse. Like, would we rather be in a world where like we're back to just being in these small groups of like 150 or less people with that sense of community, or is it better to have houses and my own car and like my Xbox and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I guess without the need for power and competition, and striving to achieve things, it kind of like runs the world and runs the economy. So I guess the world and the economy would be way different if we never left that era that we did before.
Yeah, I mean, progress is basically pushed by competition, and if you're not really worried about competing with anybody, then there's really no way you're going to make progress.
Yeah, for sure.
There's no motivation.
Yeah, you think they
That
fucking?
Terrence McKenna stuff's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's brilliant. He really is smart.
He fasted before all those crazy trips too.
Yeah.
He'd do a 24-hour fast and then take 5.5 dried grams of mushrooms.
Yep. He says if you ever want to have an experience, take 5 grams of mushrooms and lay in your bed in the complete dark. I don't know. Yeah, you think
Spooky shit, yo.
you think fucking people back in the day, like who was the first caveman or whatever to fucking hunt down a deer or something, or some animal, steer, some fucking cattle, whatever. Take a big old slab of meat and say, I'm going to put this over the fire and I'm going to cook it.
I bet you it was just like, oh, it got hit by lightning. Now it smells better.
so 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 we can credit all of our cooked steaks to a caveman holding a steak and getting struck by lightning, and all the other cavemen running up and saying, well, Fred's fucking dead, but his steak smells delicious, so you want to try it first?
Honestly, it was probably like forest fires. Because if you like see a forest fire and then go to where the smoldering ashes are still, you'll find like squirrels and rabbits and shit just laying in it. And they probably just tasted it and was like, well, they probably put two and two together. Like,
Yeah.
black squirrel more delicious.
dude dude, another thing that I think about all the time is like, you saying black squirrel triggered it. So all the words at some point, going back to our discussion on English, I guess, all words at some point have to have an origin. Like every single word, if it's not an original word that means that is identifying that object or thought or thing or expression or action, it has some sort of origin that dates back, and you know, a lot of like English words come from Latin origin, stuff like that. But you got to think like at some point somebody had to been like drinking out of a cup and just looked at his buddy and was like cup cup, and then they were all just like cup cup cup, and then a guy looks down and he like pulls a blade of grass out of the ground and he's like grass. The guys are like grass. Like, how do words fucking
I love that you think cavemen invented English.
Yeah. You know what I mean though? Like, it has to start somewhere.
What do you think the first word ever was?
I was just gonna ask you that. I think it is some form of O. I think it's some form of like oh, like something like that, because that's the first thing that usually comes out of a baby's mouth.
Yeah, I was thinking babies probably invented language way before like adults did.
Yeah. So like if you look at it, like what is the first instinct of a bit, like the first sound that a baby just thinks to make? And I think it's definitely some form of O, because that can mean so many different things. Like that can mean like hi, like oh, or that can mean like look at this, or like oh, like that hurts. There's so many different expressions that can be used using that word. That's final answer. Oh. And you won $1 million.
I wonder where, like, it had to be Africa, right? Like the first people to say were in Africa.
They were in Africa, yep.
I wonder if they were black.
I mean, I'm sure they were. If that's like, isn't that fact? But that's
well, I don't know, because you see all these they do representations of cavemen and shit, and somehow they're all white.
That's true. But I feel like maybe
the whole Jesus thing. Jesus was Middle Eastern, but apparently in all these fucking pictures he's white.
Well, I feel like the reason that cavemen are portrayed white is because of religious beliefs and Bibles. Because, you know, Adam and Eve, weren't they white? Doesn't it say they're white in the Bible? I could be totally wrong.
I don't know, but you look at every representation they make of it, and they're white. It's like an assumed dominance.
Yeah. Wow, fucking white people are scummy, dude.
I know, and you like find it in places you would have never thought to look. And I just imagine like there's like some building where original white people are, and they're just like, fuck, I figured out another one.
God damn the white people. I'm allowed to say that though, because I'm white, right? Fuck white people.
I don't know.
Why is that?
Let's talk about politics.
Yeah. No, why is that? Why is it that... Alright, so if I say the phrase, yo, fuck Jews, they're pieces of shit, I'm a fucking asshole. Why? Because I'm not Jewish. But my friend sitting right next to me is Jewish, and he's literally the same person as me, same ethnicity, like identical. He could even be my twin brother. Maybe I just didn't go with the Jew life and he did. Like I was all fucking hunting down black squirrels in the forest when I was a kid, and he was studying fucking Jewish literature. Why can he sit there and go, yo, fuck Jews, they're pieces of shit, and everyone's like, ha ha ha, it's funny.
Well, because your ancestors didn't suffer the Holocaust, I guess. I mean, everything that happens is like a social construct. Like
that's true.
There's the same reason you're not supposed to like not wear seatbelts, because society decided that wouldn't be right. And I mean, that's the only incentive anybody really has not to do anything, is because either one, you're going to get in trouble, or two, you're going to be looked at like an outcast. And if you're like some white guy that says fuck Jews, then you're like part of the minority of the way that people think.
Yeah.
So I think that like if society gets mad at you for saying fuck Jews, it's probably a good thing for society as a whole.
I mean it makes a lot of sense to me. Obviously, I'm just saying it as kind of a joking way. It's just kind of funny that that's how it is. Like,
but fuck Jews.
yeah, fuck Jews. Guys are fucking assholes. My last manager was Jewish. Fuck her. I'm just kidding. I love you guys. Oh shit. Dude, I cooked up a monster steak today, and I wanted to ask you, what is your primary method? If I slam a ribeye in front of you, we're gonna stick with the ribeye, even though let's say it's 2 inches thick. I'm talking a fucking monster. It's about 1.4 pounds, 2 inches thick. How do you cook that exactly?
I'll put the grill, propane grill outside on like pretty low to where the internal temperature of the grill is like 250. Then
Mm-hmm.
cook it on there for a little while. One flip after about 10 minutes. And then meat thermometer is like key. A lot of people are too lazy and they think they can just kind of eyeball it or whatever. But the meat thermometer, if you want a perfect steak,
It's
the
true.
meat thermometer is the way to go. Check the internal temperature. I think the internal temperature for medium rare is 140 degrees. And then while it's cooking inside, I don't have any cast iron skillets, but those are ideal. I just don't have the patience for it. So I just take a regular Teflon skillet, throw some either grass-fed butter or a shitload of olive oil in there and get it piping hot. And then take it straight off the grill, throw it in there. It's called reverse searing. And then
Mm-hmm.
bada bing, bada boom. Dip it
Mm.
in some blue cheese if I'm feeling it.
Oh, dude, I like the blue cheese crumbles over the steak. I don't know if
I
you
like,
fuck,
I don't know.
dude. You gotta fuck. Have you ever fucked with it, or are you just not a fan?
Well, I did it once, and I was just like, what I'm ended up doing is I'll cut the piece of steak, and then half the blue cheese crumbles will fall off, and then I have to stab it, and then gently mash it into the blue cheese crumbles to pick them back up with the steak.
Yeah, what I usually do is just ignore the blue cheese, cut the steak, and then pretend like you're gonna scoop up some of the juices with the steak, and then just take your fork and like fold the blue cheese like on the fork as you scoop it up. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah,
resting on top of the meat like a spoon.
that's a good plan.
Yeah, it's good. But so once again, going back to when Death visited me, we were cooking steaks, and at that point, I was not super into the reverse sear method. I was all about the skillet method, just because you could keep any size steak super rare, but still get this ridiculously charred, crusty outside. And I loved the outside just being extremely crusty. So I started not recently, I would say within the past year, getting into the reverse sear. And dude, whole nother ball game. Whole nother fucking ball game with that shit. You can't quite get the crusty outside that you can with just cooking it on a skillet, because you're not cooking as long. It's literally like 60 seconds done, even on the hottest skillet possible. Because if you go any more, what happens is you start creating this gray layer on each of the sides that just gets larger and larger and larger every 10 seconds that it's sitting there. You know what I mean? So I do
Right.
no longer than 60. But I have come to my method is oven 250 degrees. You take the full steak. You obviously salt and pepper the fuck out of it. I season the shit out of it. Only salt and pepper though, nothing else. Then you put it in, and for every inch of thickness is about 20 minutes at 250. And this is for a rare. This is for like a very rare steak. So I would say 25 for like a medium rare, 30, 35 for like a medium. If you go any higher than medium rare, though, maybe medium on some occasions, you can honestly get in your fucking car, put the keys in the ignition, turn it to start, put it in drive, find the nearest bridge, drive to the edge of the bridge, pull a gun out, and shoot yourself in the fucking head, because because you should not be eating steaks anything above fucking medium, by no means. But then
Well
you take
done, not in the wheelhouse.
but then you take it out 20 minutes for every, so like mine was an inch and a half today, so I did 30 minutes, took it out. You count to 65 on extremely high heat, cast iron skillet, tons of butter, take it off, base it with some butter to finish it off, put a little thing of butter on top, cover it with tin foil, let it sit for about 5 or 6 minutes. Boom, dude. Incredible. And that's the thing, a lot of people don't let their steak sit. They're like, oh man, you gotta eat it while it's hot and piping. It's like, no, you can't fucking do that, because you're not letting the steak internally cook and reabsorb all of those juices into the center. That's where the steak is ridiculously
Yeah, like I doubted that theory a while back because I was just like, I just want to eat it now. But if you literally set a steak that you let sit for 10 minutes right next to a steak that you literally just pulled out of the skillet and cut them, you'll watch all the juice inside your steak run out of the one that just came off the skillet, and the other one it'll all just pool slightly underneath it.
Dude,
It's a
man,
big difference.
it is a big difference. I wouldn't say I go the full 5-6 minutes though. I usually am impatient. I'll go like 2, but I still let it sit. And sometimes I let it sit like before I sizzle it. So I'll take it out of the oven and I'll let it sit there while the skillet heats up. Then I'll sear it. And then when you take it off there, you don't really have to let it sit as much. You really, I don't know, maybe like a minute to give you peace of
I don't
mind.
know. I do like 5 minutes.
Yeah. I don't fucking know. Fuck, dude. Meat for life, baby. Meat
Meat is the greatest food
is
there
the
is.
greatest.
Stick your pizza up your asshole and eat a steak, you bitch.
Well, dude, let's talk about some Destiny stuff. How about that?
Oh, your favorite topic.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I heard it's a cool game. I'm thinking about buying it.
It's the 3Ds, dude. Destiny, dicks, and drugs.
Destiny, dicks, and drugs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the middle. But but yeah, so I've been basically referring to you as promoting this podcast as the drum set guy. And like, yo, tune in. I'm fucking doing a podcast with Underdog. He's the drum set guy. You guys should tune in to learn about some history about the drum set. Let's get into that whole situation. So first of all, how the fuck did um how the fuck did we even meet? Was that through death?
Yeah, I
God damn
listened
it,
to
he's
your
coming up
first.
too much. He needs to fuck off.
I know it's bullshit.
Either I miss him or he's just the bearer of bad news.
Well, for me, he's been like my biggest frenemy. Like anytime people are being really nice to me about this whole weight loss thing, like he'll message me and be like, "You're still a fat piece of shit," and all this stuff.
What a
So
dick.
I'm not in love with him, but he's fun. I have him to thank for uniting us though, because it was like you said in your first episode. You met him on LFG, and one day I was like trying to do Vault of Glass, and I went on LFG, and he had like some silly post like, if you're gay and you want to touch butts, join us. And I was like, that's exactly what I want to do. So I messaged him. He invited me. It was Death. Let me think. Vegas, you, and Rumpy, I think, and John May, and then I was the sixth. And it was just like we did it in maybe 1 or 2 tries, but it was really funny. Everybody was like making gay jokes and stuff, and I was like, these are the type of people I like. So I added everybody in the party, and then I don't know. We did some stuff together a few times, and whenever what update was it that came out that we started doing the loop thing?
The loop thing? Oh, dude, that was after the Taken King.
I'm just
Definitely.
trying to remember, because like we rarely ever hung out or talked or anything before that. But then as
No,
soon as that update came out,
yeah, we did kinda, but like I knew who you were, but crazy.
well, yeah, it all started when we started running for the loop.
Was that it? Was that
That's
when
when I
we
bought
did the drum set?
yeah, because I bought the Cronus, and when we were doing the loop stuff, we found that hammer glitch, and I made a script for the Cronus where I would just hold down a button and it would just throw infinite hammers until it ran out, and that's how you found out that I knew how to do that shit.
Was it? Was that true?
Yeah, it was me, you, and Iron. We set records and shit on on running the.
That's
running
right,
online.
actually. Damn, dude, I felt like it was before that.
That was when we started hanging out, and then maybe like 2 or 3 weeks later, I'm just sitting at work hanging out with one of my coworkers, and I got a text, and it was from you, and it was like, "Hey, do you think it would be possible to make it so I can use a Rock Band drum kit on my Xbox? And I didn't even answer right away. I just kind of like sat there and thought about it, and I was like, well, if the inputs are the same as like a controller, then sure. And then I looked up a picture of the Rock Band drum set, and I saw like there was a start button and like your A, B, X, Y buttons and stuff. I was like, it has to be. So I literally just was like 100% I can do that without a doubt.
Without
And
knowing for
I started
sure.
research. I started researching, and I was like, oh shit, I don't know if I can do this or not.
You already got me
So I
all
was
hyped
like,
up.
yeah, dude, I was flat broke as fuck too whenever that was going on. So, like, we got Venmo. I had you send me some cash. Ordered the drum set.
Hmm.
Started messing around. I asked like a bunch of questions on the Cronus Max forums and stuff, and then I figured it out. It was really simple. I mean, you plug the drum set into the Cronus, plug the Cronus into your computer, and if you like tap one of the drums, it shows up on the screen as an input from whatever button it was. If it was, red, it would be B. And I was like, well, this is really simple. All I have to do is reassign these buttons the way I want them. And, it took me like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I got that all set up. That was probably the least fun because once I figured that out, all the rest of them was like so easy.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just backtracking a tad. There was a post on Reddit that I'm not gonna get into too much detail because I did tell this a portion of this story, the first one, but there was a post on Reddit that was somebody was like, "Hey, who's gonna solo Frodo with a drum set?" Ha ha ha! And it was like a huge post, front page, and I saw it and I started laughing. And I had been getting into Crota solos at that time, and then by the time I texted you, I had done countless Crota solos. Like, I knew the fight very, very, very well. And then I was just like, dude, I remember this Reddit post, and I remember fucking Underdog saying shit about the Cronus and the program stuff, and I guess I was with the Titan hammer spamming thing. I was like, I'm gonna reach out to this motherfucker who I know, but I don't know. I'm gonna see if we can link up and start working together. And next thing you know, I'm fucking at the post office taking my only laptop, shipping it to you, and fucking sending you money to buy shit. I'm like, well, looks like we're going all in on this one. And then
Yeah, he didn't wrap it very well either because it got to me and half the screen was fucking busted.
Dude, I think they sent it.
You only sent that for the voice commands. But when it got here, I literally had like a third of a computer screen to work with to program this fucking thing. It took me 40 hours to program all the commands, like one by one, into the voice commands thing. And I have literally a third of a laptop screen to work with.
Wait, so all right, so you did the drum set. Let's go into chronological. So you did the drum set first, and then you sent that back to me. I did the drum set, and it was really weird, but that actually wasn't that hard. It took like 2 hours to do. Not that difficult. Then what was after the drum set?
Guitar Hero guitar.
Was it Guitar Hero? Okay, so that I'm guessing that was very similar to the drum set.
That one was different because I had to program it so that when you tilted up, it would aim left. Tilted down, it would aim right. I think that was it.
Yeah.
And there's like a little internal gyro thing inside of it, and I had to figure out how to because when you first do it, when I first did it, it was like you had to tilt all the way up to 100% in order for it to move at all. So there was no slight aiming or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it took me probably 2 hours to figure out exactly how to do that part, and then it was just reprogramming the buttons. So maybe 2.5, 3 hours for the whole thing.
Okay, so that was a little bit more complicated because of the tilting thing. And
yeah,
it's funny because the guitar was way harder than the drums, in my opinion, just because of the tilting thing. That was a pain. Having to.
Well, we wanted it to look cool.
Yeah, no, it did look cool. Like rocking out, and then fucking Chief Rumpy was like, "Do it in a suit." Then what was after that? Was that DDR pad?
I want to say it was DDR.
Okay, so DDR, any tricks with
Took me
that
like
one?
20 minutes.
Okay, so that was yeah, that one's fucking easy. Bada boom, bada bing. Here you go. Bada sping. I did a little jiggy jig, shuffle shuffle. Frodo's fucking dead. Then what was after that?
I want to say voice commands was the only other one we did.
All
Well, you
right.
did the blindfold one while I was programming the voice commands.
Okay. So voice commands seems like, from everything that you say, it was definitely the hardest to.
It was a pain in the ass.
So
Because like
why?
I sat at my Xbox with a stopwatch in one hand and on my phone. Obviously, I'm not a fucking nerd, but
Yeah.
sat there with a stopwatch in one hand and an Xbox controller in the other, and I would literally like start the stopwatch and then tap the controller for aiming. And it was like, okay, it takes, I don't know, 0.6 seconds to aim 45 degrees one way and 45 degrees the other. So I would like program that in real quick and then I would execute the command. And I mean, it was so much back and forth. I was like running all over the place because my Xbox was in a different room than my computer.
Oh
So I had to
my
keep like,
god. And that's
yeah, I'd
when
have to
and
unplug
that's
the
when the weight
Cronus.
started peeling off.
Not quite. But I had to like unplug the Cronus, walk 2 rooms over, plug it into my computer, change the scripting and everything. And I'm working off of 2 different programs because I had to program the scripts in whatever I can't remember the name of the program for Cronus, but the Cronus Max program. And then I had to go to Voice Attack to like keep changing what the commands do. And it was like, it could not have been less like ease of use. It was just like very clunky and shit, but eventually I got it to where I had the system figured out. I just had to keep tweaking the numbers and stuff, and then you know add in like little custom stuff. The thing that made me the most mad was I worked all that time, and like my favorite part was going to be at the very end. Once you killed Crota, all you had to do was say like, "Take me to orbit," and I programmed that little like Easter egg in there where instead of taking you to orbit, it was going to open your inventory and delete your Gallarhorn. But you fucking forgot because you're so
Oh
excited that you beat
no.
it.
Dude, I forgot about that.
I was so salty.
Oh, dude, I forgot about that. Shit, that actually would have been funny.
Basically, programming the voice commands was like if you could imagine trying to tell a 2-year-old how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like, you can't just say, open the jar of peanut butter. You have to be like, open the cupboard, grab the jar of peanut butter, set it down, unscrew the lid, set the lid down, grab the butter. Like, you have to go through every single step.
Yeah.
And like even adding in pauses because like you hit your start button to open your inventory, you have to wait for it to load. So I had to like time how long the fucking inventory would
Oh
have to
god,
load
and
and
that
stuff.
varies too.
Yeah, so I just have to like go at the top end. I'd do it like 6 times or something, and then like, oh, that time was a minute or a second and a half. That time was 2 seconds. I just got to like the longest possible one and just added half a second to it.
So what was the delay on that? Wasn't it like a second?
The delay, I mean, it was anywhere between like 0.8 seconds to like 1.6, I think.
Jesus.
Um, it because like if it was a more a longer command that it took you to say, it would have to wait like from the time you started saying it to the time you ended saying it, and then it would have to process that because it has to detect what you said. So like the take him down one, you have to wait until you say take him down. It has to wait all the way till the end of you saying it, and
Yeah.
then it'll execute the command. So it has to go from beginning to end. So take him down takes like a full 1.6 seconds, whereas like left takes like half a second.
Gotcha. um I remember when we first started that we were talking about what commands do we need and we were sending back and forth this like a piece of paper screenshot that you're just like writing everything down. You just had a page, maybe 2 pages, I don't remember. It was
Full
just
page front and back.
yeah, that was just filled with like left 90, right 45, inch front, inch back, crouch, and it was just all these commands, and we thought about like every possible scenario in the Crota solo. Like if something were to go wrong, we have to have a command that enables us to get out of there. You know, they can get you out of the situation. And one of my biggest concerns was getting away from Crota after getting hits in with. That was like my biggest fear, because you gotta like get out of there fast, because he fucking stands up.
I can't.
What?
I was gonna say I can't remember what the command was, but it was like run away or
No.
you
It
know, get
was
the fuck out of there.
No, it was. We ended up just going with individual commands because we wanted to make that where if you could do an individual command, like each movement was its own command, we did it, and we ended up. I think in the run, I just say, or no, we did. Was it get out of there?
It was something like that because it would turn 180 degrees, then sprint forward for just a split second, and then double jump forward.
Oh, we
There
did
was
have a
like
command for that. That's right.
3 commands all based into one. There was only 2 commands that we had for the whole thing that were
There were
like
multiple
a little
inputs.
sketchy.
Well, dude, the
Yeah.
thing was like we tried how many countless hours did we just practice trying to get Crota, and you just can't get hits on Crota. You can't take him down, pick up the sword, and get hits because of the input lag. So like what would happen was I would say heavy. I would get up there, I would say heavy, I would pull out the sword, I would say attack or whatever the fuck it was, and then I would say pick up. And by the time the character even attacked and picked up the sword, Crota's shield was already coming back. And we tried it.
Yeah.
Like, we tried it so much, and we like couldn't. Even if I was like so on point with the commands, it was just every time like maybe half a swing would get thrown in, and we were just like, dude, there's no way. Like you can't do this without going into enrage, because you just can't get enough hits in on the guy.
Your number one issue was hitting him with the raise lighter sword, dropping it, then picking up the other sword.
Yeah, exactly.
So we on the fly, while like 3 hours deep into it, we had to like talk over the phone, and I had to like teach you how to add commands to the Cronus, and I like programmed that take him down command in there where it would swing the sword, swing the sword or drop the Crota sword, swing the raise lighter, and then pick the other
And then
sword
pick
back
the sword up.
That was
Yeah.
take him down.
Yep. And then it was and then we had how many hits did I get? It was like 3 each time or something like that. But yeah, I mean people criticize that part of the run a lot, but they don't understand like that is actually a tough thing to do. To do a fight like that where in a game like Destiny where all the movement is just totally free form, and you can look up and you can look down. Like you got to remember, you got to keep your camera like looking forward, you know? And that's tough to do because like you get meleeed behind from a thrall and your camera darts up at like 45 degrees, you know? So like just keeping everything looking forward and looking where I needed to look and everything. Like we had commands for all that shit. And you just couldn't do hits, and so little command like take him down, which is dropping the sword, getting the hit, picking the Crota sword back up. I'm fucking okay with that. I'm okay with having that.
Yeah. It's the vast minority of people that had problems with that. If you have like 95 comments, maybe 3 of them were like, "Oh, nice fucking command, take him down. That's bullshit."
So what was that like
I mean,
watching
if they want
that?
to be bitchy, I could. Oh, it was intense, dude.
Yeah, it must have been funny. Like,
it got annoying after a while, honestly. Listening to you go like left 90, left, left, left. I'm just like, I had to mute it for a little bit because I was like, if I have to listen to this fucking dude say the word left one more time, I'm gonna lose my shit. It's fucking 4 hours of that.
And it wasn't just me being
like
left 90. Like I was speaking very like pronouncing my words very clearly. Like left 90, right 45. So I can understand how that would get very annoying because it wasn't normally how I talked. Oh, dude, we forgot about the programming thing. You sent me the program where like, yo, you got to say all these commands like a billion fucking times. Recording my voice in that program was so annoying because I had to do it like so many different times. Yeah. Dude, that took a while. Each time I did it, I had to do it twice, and each time it took like 20 minutes or something. I had to like read.
I told you to try to do it.
I had to read sentences.
I told you to try to do it 4 times.
Yeah, I probably did it 4 times then. I don't know. I had to like read all these sentences and I had to get an idea for like my voice inflection and my pronunciation of letters. And then it was like, and then I had to go through and I had to say every command like a few different ways, and it had me say them, like in a louder voice and then a quieter voice. Dude, it was just trying to like really map everything out so it was like perfect voice recognition. Pretty funny.
It was worth it. I mean, that
Yeah.
thing honestly worked really well. There was maybe 2 or 3 times where you were like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, the only one that didn't work was right, and I think that's because I kept trying to say it too quickly. Like I would say right 90 and it wouldn't work, and I would say right 90 again and it was still like trying to pick up what I just said, and then I'm overlapping it with that, and it was like I can't figure that out. And then eventually I just like shut up for like 3 seconds and then said right 90 and then it worked. So that
Well, it's an interesting challenge because if anybody that's listening imagines like their first few times trying to like solo Crota and you feel how intense it is, especially like you start doing the first few steps and you fail at the same point over and over again, you get really comfortable, and then you get to a point where you're past where you normally fail, and like the intensity starts to build and you're like
yeah,
slightly shaky. Now
yeah,
imagine having to do that with your fucking voice.
yeah,
Like
dude. Because like when
it's
you're
you start
nervous,
to try to like anticipate things at the same rate that you normally do with a controller, but you're doing it with your voice, and you
yeah,
have to wait before you can say something.
yeah, and like when you're nervous, like your voice has like these little like vibrations in your throat. You start to like you sound nervous, you know, and you
Mhm.
start stumbling on your words and your voice cracks. It's just like all these things happen in your throat that you can't really control just because your nerves are literally vibrating. And there's nothing that you can do. Like when that first sword was done, I was like, oh my god, I've never gotten this far before. And like the first time we got past the first sword was a kill. Thankfully, who knows how long that would have taken? But I don't know how long that took total.
It's like a glorious moment to see if you watch that video where you like escaped your way to that little tunnel where you're pretty much safe, and you're just like, whew, and like you shake your hands. It's like you got to get all those nerves out of your body because you're
Yeah,
like freaking the fuck out.
yeah. Did you by any chance see the newest video, the triple play?
I was watching it earlier when I was waiting for you to get home.
Dude,
I
most
saw the first 2 bosses and I didn't catch the last one yet.
dude, when I got the Crota, I was so fucking nervous. Like you can clearly see it in my face cam that that I was just like shaking so bad, and I like put my controller down. I was like, I can't even pick up the controller. I can't aim. I can't do anything. I was like so nervous for some reason. And well, I know why. It's because in my head I was thinking like I don't want to have to do that again. Like what I just did, I really don't want to go through that a second time, you know, or a third time it would have been.
If anybody watched that stream, like whenever you finally beat Oryx and then you went into Axis and you were at like the last little bit that you had to do, something happened and it fucked up. I was like,
Yeah.
you were so pissed.
Yeah. Dude, I fucking missed a slam. I misread a teleport. He went left and I thought he went back. And I
You
was
just
mad.
got so quiet. I was like, ugh,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I didn't
this
talk
is
for like
awkward.
40 minutes or something.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because then you went back to Oryx, and after your second fail, you like tossed your controller down and turned the stream off. Ooh, better get out of this one.
We're just gonna let him go. Oh shit. Dude, you know what I was just thinking about? That one time all right, so let me just break this story down to you. I'm sitting there minding my own fucking business one night, okay? Just chilling. I think I'm in a party with like Doug, Justin, I don't know. I'm fucking hanging out, and I get a message on Xbox, and it's like, yo, help. And then I'm like, alright, whatever. Like, this dude's an idiot. And then I get like 4 more messages that are just like, help, please. Yo, will you carry me? And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, why are people asking me, what the fuck did I do? Is there a thing? I'm like, what the hell's going on? And dude, I just got spammed with like 30 messages all within like a half-hour period. Just message after message after message. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, why am I getting all these messages? I was so pissed. Like, I just wanted to chill. I was trying to do a challenge. I was trying to make a video. And I had no fucking idea. Underdog, would you like to tell them what happened there?
So this happened back at the absolute peak of the Trials of Nine, like pretty soon after it first came out. And I was hanging out with some friends one night and drank a bunch of beers, got pretty wasted, and I was like fucking around on Xbox, and I was looking at who was online, and I saw that you and John and Doug were, I think you guys were like doing a nightfall or something that only three people could do, and I was like,
Uh,
oh, that sucks. I wanted to hang out with my friends. Well, these guys are fucking assholes. So I went on LFG to see who was on there, and the first thing that popped up on LFG, like if you go back when you could go to the LFG page, it would show everything, and it was nothing but people doing trials because it was a weekend. So I was like, oh, this would be funny. So I click on create a group, and I put in glad he ate her 182 back whenever your name wasn't banned.
yep.
And I put like doing trials carries for free on stream. Anybody who wants to join, please message me or some silly shit like that. Like 100% flawless guaranteed. And I just hit submit and I went to sleep.
100% flawless guaranteed. And then you went to bed. You didn't even stick around.
Nope.
Yeah, you're
I
dead.
forgot I did it until the next day whenever I got on Xbox and you were like saying something about it. I can't remember, but yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, dude. You fucking baited me. Hard as shit.
It was pretty hilarious.
I mean, for you, it was hilarious.
Well, it's not like I did it again. I just did it the one time.
Ah, touche, though. That's a good one. It's a good, that's a nice little, what you call a friendly, practical joke.
Nobody got hurt.
Nobody got hurt. We had a couple giggles. We're telling stories about it. Dude.
Talking about New Year's Eve.
No, I mean, yeah, we can talk about New Year's Eve. So, Mr. Underdog here, everybody that knows me know that I just promote the fuck out of Bass Nectar. I'm not saying I'm the reason that you listen. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. He's a popular dude. You could have easily found him on yourself. But I'm sure that in some ways I have pushed him onto you heavily. And so we decided we were going to take Underdog to his first Bass Nectar experience. First of all, how is it seeing the man do his magic live? All the songs that you listen to.
I've been to a lot of live stuff like back in the day, but it was pretty intense. Like
Yeah.
the lights, the sound, everything just hits you. Even if you're not on drugs or whatever, like most people there were taking stuff, but even if you're not, like it's a pretty cathartic experience. Like it takes over your body. Like I don't dance, and I danced the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's fucking intense, man. It's actually one of my favorite things to take people that have never been to a Bass Nectar show to a Bass Nectar show, just because it's just so fun, like watching somebody that you care about just have their mind get fucked, and then it's great too. Like there were a couple songs that came on that you just got so fucking pumped about when they were coming on, and it's so cool to see like your favorite DJ playing for your favorite people playing their favorite songs. You know what I mean? It's just like a whole lot of shit going on.
When Underwater came on, I looked back and like my jaw was on the floor. I was like, dude,
that's a banger.
And then immediately after that, Teleport Massive, the original cut.
Oh, dude, I'm so glad we got the original. Dude, the thing is,
out of my mind.
The thing is, I always want the dubstep remix of that song, but I hadn't got the original in so long. So when I first heard it coming on, I was kind of like, fuck, I kind of wanted the dubstep one. And then as soon as it dropped, I was like, oh, dude, I forgot how fucking nasty this beat is. Like all these fucking crazy sounds and ripping chords and all these fucking noises. And I was like, dude, the fucking old school beat is just disgusting. Like, fuck the remix one. Like, this one's dirty. The bass is so heavy in that song.
Yeah, I mean, something I learned from going to that show is just like, you know, people have their preconceived notions about the type of people that go to that show, like all the people that are on drugs or they're these like all these young kids that are in high school right now with all the weird transgender shit and people with pink hair and stuff. But like, say what you will about those people, those are like the nicest fucking people I'd ever met. Like everybody
Yeah.
was so caring and shit. It was weird.
Yeah, dude, that's how it is. It's the atmosphere is one of the best things about it, and just how like loving and caring everybody is, and the feel, just the overall feeling of just empathy, you know, is so,
Empathy's a good word. It's a
yeah.
good way to lead into what happened.
It's so abundant. So I mean, yeah, we had an experience there for sure. we we had an experience. I mean,
So basically, I won't say anybody's name to keep anybody out of trouble, but we were hanging out at our buddy's apartment that lives down, well, your buddy, not mine, really,
yeah,
but your
it
friend
was.
that lives down there in Atlanta.
I'll just say this real quick. It was all of us dudes, and then our friend Lucy was tagging along. All right, we'll just leave
Lucy
it.
was chilling.
Lucy was chilling with us. We'll just leave it at that. Continue.
So we're hanging out in probably one of the nicest apartment buildings in all of Atlanta, like on the 30th floor, like with the greatest view of the entire city you could possibly imagine. That dude probably pays
Dude.
like $4 grand a month in
Dude.
rent, easy.
Unbelievable. His apartment. Fucking
The most beautiful view.
the tits.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So we're just chilling there, and we're like kind of sort of pre-gaming, like taking shots just to get ready, and then we're trying to figure out, what kind of drugs would be available for the event, and luck would have it we happened upon a 10 strip of a little bit of Lucy, and
What? I don't know what you're
you cut
talking
it
about.
up. Then you cut it up.
Well, I
and
ain't
it
cut
was
shit up.
10
I don't know what you're
perfectly-
talking about.
allegedly, 10 strips of this wonderful substance was perfectly proportioned, and it was the most fun part for me about that was everybody like trying their different methods of ways that we were going to sneak it in. Like there was like 12,000 people there. The pat down was literally like, here's your arms, here's your legs, get the fuck out of here.
It was more like a limb
It didn't
check.
search shit.
Oh, you got a right
Yeah.
arm, you got a left arm, you got two legs, you got a cock and balls. All right, you're good.
Bingo bango, like in and out. But everybody, hid their shit, and we went to the what was that hotel? The Westin Hotel, I think, to hang out with all your fucking weirdo friends. Like I'm not super comfortable around people I don't know, so I just chilled on the floor while everybody was like yelling. But as a group, we all freezing cold walked over to the venue, and I didn't really know what to expect exactly, but I forgot to hydrate myself. I figured like we'd go there, show our tickets, go in, and then we'd be able to like find a place where we could buy water bottles and shit like that. But I didn't expect the fact that once we got in there, that there would be a line. And when I say line, I don't mean like a normal single file line where there's like 100 people in front of you trying to get into a movie theater. This was more like a fucking massive field of people, the width of a football field,
A crowd.
like nuts to butts, all the way forward. There was like 25 lines going at one time. And it was just like people shoulder to shoulder, and like it was fucking hot as shit in there, and there's not much oxygen because there's a bunch of people around you talking and sucking all the fucking air up, and B, I don't remember. It was just really hot, and I was dehydrated, and I was like a little bit on edge because I was surrounded by people that I don't know, and like people kept pushing past us to try to get to the front of the line, and they're like bumping into me and shit, and I have problems with people touching me in the first place, so I was like shaky. But we got maybe like 20 minutes from the front of the line, and everybody was like, all right, let's go ahead and allegedly drop this acid real quick so that by the time we get into the showroom, it starts to kick in and we'll have a good time. And I was like, oh, man, I don't want to do it right now. I want to wait till I'm out of this line, but everybody else is doing it, and I give into peer pressure like I'm in fucking middle school. So I went ahead and popped the tab in my mouth, and immediately, the second the paper touched my tongue, I had a meltdown.
Yeah, to say the least.
I fucking flipped out, dude. Like I had this in my brain that the acid was going to kick in before we got out of the line, and I was going to start freaking out and everybody was going to know I was on acid. So like a self-fulfilling prophecy came true, and like I just looked around and I looked over at Sean and I was like, dude, I don't feel right. And then the next thing I know, I wake up on the ground. And I don't somebody helped me up, and I just like popped up and I was like, I'm cool, I'm cool. And you're like, do you want some water, dude? I was like, sure, why not? And like I started to take a drink of water, and the next thing I know, boom, I'm on the ground again, and I wake up like, what the fuck just happened, man? And like you helped me up, and you were like, you had your arms on my shoulders and you were looking me straight in the face and you were talking. And I don't know if anybody else has ever experienced this or whatever, but like there was this moment where I could hear the crowd of everybody around me talking, and then like just imagine like driving really fast towards a tunnel and you can hear stuff outside, and then you hit the tunnel and it's like and like all the sound around you completely goes away. Like that happened where I could not hear anything, and you sounded like one of the teachers on Charlie Brown. You were like, wah, 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 wah. I was like, dude, I can't hear anything you're saying. And in my head I was like, oh shit, the acid must have kicked in super fast because I'm dehydrated and I haven't eaten in like 10, 15 hours. So I was like, holy shit, the acid's kicked in. Oh God, I'm freaking out. And then boom, I'm on the ground again.
Oh my god.
I come to again, and I'm like, God, what in the fuck is happening to me? So I just like kind of got up on my knees, and people were coming around. They're like, dude, you got to get him the fuck out of here. You got to get him to medical attention and all this shit. And Sean was like, fuck you, get the fuck away from my friend. I'm here to take care of him. Like, no, we're not going anywhere. We're not leaving this fucking line. And I was like, part of me wanted to go outside and get fresh air because I was thinking like the whole like not being able to breathe thing.
It was a no way.
Dude, you handled it perfectly, to be honest, because like whatever it was, standing up was the issue. Like every time I'd stand up, my blood pressure dropped, and like all the blood left my brain, and I just hit the deck.
Yup. Yeah. Dude,
but
so
people
like
kept coming up to me, giving me bottles of water and shit.
Yeah, people
like,
were chill. You got a good like 2.5 full bottles of water. I know for sure.
There's like girls, like like really cute girls, like coming up to me, just like touching me, like, "Hey, I hope you're okay. Just relax." I'm like, I accidentally spit the acid out like 5 fucking minutes ago. There's like nothing that's gonna happen at this point.
Dude, this one dude was a dick. I was like, dude, I need that water right now. Like, and he's like, but dude, it's my last water. And I'm like, my fucking friend is literally passing out. I was like, stop being a little selfish ass. Like, he was being such a dick. But all right, so like before we continue from there, let me tell like what the fuck was going on from my perspective. Because there wasn't really much communication going on with you at all. So like everything was just me kind of trying to figure out what the fuck was happening, you know, because you weren't really like giving me information. You were just like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, thanks, dude. Like, you're not. So like we're standing there, and you said I don't really feel too good, and I'm like, okay, like I don't know, he's got the nerves or whatever. Ultimately, that's what it was. Like the line got to you, and next thing I know, you put your arm around me, and you put your other arm around Mr. B, and you just all your weight just on my shoulders. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And then I just noticed that, oh, his legs aren't working right now, and I couldn't fucking hold you up, and I just like slowly like let you on the ground, and you were just done, like completely not moving. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, yo, and I started like hitting you and shaking you, and you woke up like immediately, like you weren't out for long at all. And I'm just like, dude.
It was like the light switch went out and then went right back.
Yeah, it went right back on. You never were completely immobile for more than like a second at the most. And then you just like sat back up, and I was like, dude, like what's that? Is this a thing? Is there something? Like immediately I started asking, like, is there something that I should know about? Does this happen? Is this something that normally happens? And you just like couldn't get anything out. So I'm looking at fucking Mr. B, we'll call him BT, and And I was like, dude, I like we need to figure out if like this is something that happens to him. I don't know if he has like immediately my mind just goes to like conditions. Like, is there something that I should be concerned about that he hasn't told me? And then you're just like, no, like this doesn't happen. And I was like, well, like shit, okay. I don't really know what to think. Like, I don't know how to handle the situation. You're not really giving me too much information. You're saying you don't know what's going on. So I'm just like, okay, he's hot. We need water. Let's get him water. We need water. So we got you water. And then within 30 seconds, you were down again. And the second time you went down, I was just like, okay, shit just got like really serious really quick, because that just doesn't happen twice. And I don't know if there's something that's like seriously wrong. So then, we went through this sort of the same process. We were like, dude, we need water. And we found somebody with a fan and we started fanning you and you're sweating and your palms are sweaty. And we're just like, holy shit. And then you went down a third time. And when you went down a third time, that's when the crowd started getting involved. And that's when everybody was like, yo, he needs to go to medical. You need to get him out of here. There's fresh air over there. There's doors on the side. Like, everyone started barking orders, like, left and right. And, I'm trying real hard to deal with this situation and, like, currently how I was. And so I just, out of, like, of whim, I just go, okay, BT, stay here. Watch him. Like, I'm going to go get somebody and bring him back because I don't trust him walking through this crowd. Dude, I took like 3 steps into the crowd and just immediately was like, this ain't gonna fucking work. There's no way that I am getting him through this like 50 person just clusterfuck where I can barely get through. There's no way that we're getting all of us through. And I just turned around immediately and was like, okay, getting him out of the crowd is just not an option. Like, he has to stay here. Like, there's no other way. And then people were like, no, that's 3 times now. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And I remember I was just like, dude, my situation, my friend, let me deal with it. It's my problem. It's my situation. I'm going to deal with it. Let me fucking deal with the problem. We got water, we got fans, and you were on the ground, and I was like, stay down. And I just remember we were like, stay down. And you were like, nah, like, I'm good. I want to stand up. I'm like, dude, every time you try to stand up, you just fall back down. I was like, stay down. And then this is kind of where you left off. And
logical.
Basically, I got on all 4s and was like, I'm literally going to crawl with you to the front. And I was like, we just got to stay on the ground. And here I am on all 4s in the middle of a crowd the size of a football field. This guy that's fucking passing out left and right. And we're just on our hands and knees just crawling, like just shooting the shit like nothing happened.
That's how you know you're like a really good friend. Like, I look back and BT's just chilling back there with some dude with a hat on. Like, they're just bullshitting. I look over and it's like, me and you are the only people in this entire crowd literally crawling on the floor like toddlers.
Dude, hands and knees, like scraping up my knees and shit. And I just like, you kept wanting to stand up. And I was getting so annoyed. I'm like, dude, no, you're not standing up. Like, and then at one point you even stood up and I stayed down. Just to like encourage you, like, monkey see, monkey do. Hey, I'm on the ground. I'm having a good time. You should come down here too. And then when you stood up, I was just like, yeah, dude. You should come down here. This is pretty dope.
Well, I was like, I felt like I looked weird, and at that point, I had pretty much, I'd had enough water. I had like 2.5 like bottles of water, like you said, and I was starting to feel better. And I'd stand up for a while and like take a few steps forward, and then I'd get a little bit dizzy, and I'd just go back to squatting, and I just kept popping back and forth between standing and squatting, and like eventually we got to the end of the line, and there was like this barricade I could lean up against, and that was perfect. I just leaned up against the barricade, and like there was this huge mound of trash at the end of it where people were like taking shit out of their pockets that they weren't allowed to bring in, and I grabbed a bottle off of there and like squished it up and stuck it in my pocket. And that's when we got through the line, and you guys' shit started to kick in.
Oh, dude, it was already full force. Let me tell you. But I was so nervous about the line because I was like, all that I could think about was worst case scenario. Like the worst thing that could happen right now is he stands up to get through the security line and then he passes out again. Like because what would happen is like we'd pretty much be fucked. We
Yeah,
wouldn't
they definitely throw us out.
yeah, like we would have police like on us and it just was not good. So if you remember I kept saying to you, I was like, dude, all we gotta do is make it through the line, bro. All we gotta do is make it through the line. Like you gotta promise me, like when we get up to security, just bite down, tough it out. And I was like, then I started like trying, like I was like, okay, how can I get in his head in like a positive way? And I was like, dude, like look, man, fucking best buddies. Like you came all the way out here. We're fucking awesome. Everybody here is so cool. Everyone's trying to help us out. Like everyone's so friendly. We're just making sure that you're okay. Just trying to like make you feel very comforted, you know, to get through. And I don't know if it helped at all, but you made it through the line perfectly fine. Didn't look like you had
It's
any.
because you kissed me.
It didn't look like you had any struggles at all getting through.
As soon as we got through security, we had found a water fountain. I filled up a bottle. I sipped on it a little bit, and then we went to that Haven place. And I was like, at the point that we got to Haven, I was like, I'm fucking straight. Like, it was
Yeah.
just the line that was bugging me, and nobody wanted to believe me. So they find like this big like inflatable worm thing, and people got me
Yeah.
sitting on it and shit. I'm like, this is so pointless. But I was like, everybody was so nice to me and shit. I didn't want to be a dick about it, so I just chilled there for a minute, and then I can't remember that dude's name. The dude that's always a bummer all the time. You don't have to say his name, but you know who I'm talking about.
Mhm.
He came up with like some pizza and shit. It was really funny. BT brings this up all the time. Like I stood up out of the little like weird worm chair thing, and that dude comes up with a slice of pizza and sticks it in my face. And he goes, "Come on, dude, eat something. It'll make you feel better." I looked at him and I go, "I don't eat carbs. Get that fucking pizza out of my face."
You straight up after all this, we were like, all that we wanted to do is get nutrients in your body, get you fueled, and we try to give you food, and you're so just stuck on your keto thing. You're like, I don't fucking eat carbs, and just shoot us away. And we just started laughing so hard. We were just
Well,
dying.
it's just like I've worked really hard to get to where I am, and like not a lot of people can truly appreciate that because they see I'm still pretty big, and I
Mm.
got 50 to 60 more pounds to go before I'm in like a comfortable range. But it's like, dude, I'm not gonna let a slice of pizza fuck up my whole weekend.
Mm. Well, my fear
And
was like I didn't know that it was the line at that point entirely. I thought it was just like the heat and everything like that, and being in a tight area. So my initial thought, and I remember even saying something to you. I was like, dude, listen, I don't know if like how comfortable you are with being in there, because where we're going to be is going to be a lot more intense than that line. Like it's going to be way hotter, it's going to be way more crowded. I was like, it's just not like going to be a desirable spot, because I, like I said, I thought it was the heat. And then you just fucking, you were like, I'm good, and you just came in, and like the first like half hour, I just kept like watching it. I was like, dude, I like because if it happens again during the show in that crowd, forget about getting out. Like, did you see how deep that crowd was and how far in we were? Like that,
yeah,
like
dude, we pushed really hard to get there.
yeah, like it would have been impossible. You would have been screwed. You would have just had to toughed it out in the middle of the crowd and just kept fucking passing out and getting back up and passing out and getting back up. And I thought that was gonna happen, and I remember I was just like dreading that was gonna happen, and zero fucking issues. Like it was literally just the line and nothing else.
It was what the line was like part A. It was basically a cocktail of like worst case scenarios. Like number one, dehydrated. Number two, haven't eaten in like 15 hours. Number three, I was in a place I was incredibly uncomfortable and was a little nervous and took acid. It was like my first acid trip in a really, really long time. So I was nervous about that.
Yeah.
And uh, just like being surrounded by people, like all those factors together. You take out any of the, if I didn't take that acid, it wouldn't have happened. If there wasn't
Yeah.
that many people there, it wouldn't have happened. If I was fully hydrated, like all those things together combined into like this weird, like my blood pressure dropped and I wasn't getting oxygen to my brain and I hit the floor.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
mean,
we got into the showroom and I was fully hydrated. I was more comfortable. I have that looming like dread of acid hitting me in an uncomfortable place. So everything was cool. And I mean, what was that? 2 hours straight of just like brain fucking base nectar. And what did I do the whole time?
raging out, dude.
Hard.
Yeah, we went hard. We went hard.
I remember we got to the end of it and you looked over at me and you're like, dude, I'm like 168 pounds and I have trouble dancing that whole time. You
Yeah.
fucking went hard, bro.
Yeah. I remember at one point you took like your outer shirt off, and I just looked at Brian and I was just like, yo, he's getting serious now.
Yeah, I like got down to my undershirt and rolled my sleeves up. I
I
was like,
know. I was like,
yo,
he's ready to go.
there's half naked people everywhere.
Oh, yeah,
I'll
dude.
bring the guns out.
Oh, yeah. Nobody gives a shit what you wear at those things. That's why they're dope.
My favorite part of that whole thing was like as we were leaving the venue, like we all got split up and whatever, but we knew we were all gonna meet back at the hotel. Like I kept bumping into people that were like, "Yo, dude, you're the one that was passing out in the line. You fucking made it, bro." Like,
People, really?
nice.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there was like 5 or 6 people just on the way out that were like, "Dude, fuck yeah, you survived."
Oh shit. Yeah, that was quite the base nectar experience for sure.
So I'm excited for fucking June, dude.
Yeah, dude, that's gonna be nutty. So that's gonna be an interesting show because that's a little different than his normal shows, but it's my personal favorite just because I guess partly because I've like seen his big, huge, grand, fucking massive things before, you know. Just like the biggest shows that you can put on. But his freestyle shows are like a whole nother, it's not your typical bass nectar. It's more of like the bass nectar that bass nectar wants to be. That he doesn't have to like play all of his biggest well-known bangers. Like he's literally just gonna dig deep into his archives and go back as far as he wants and just play all these fucking old school jams, you know. And it's so cool because you get to hear so many awesome just fire songs that maybe haven't been played since like 2010. Like he's playing dubstep from like the 2010 era, and that was like when dubstep was the best, you know. And it's so awesome.
Era.
Yeah, and it's so awesome because he played like, dude, he played Zed's Dead Eyes on Fire. Like I haven't heard that song played live in a very, very long time. Well, actually, okay, I heard Zed's Dead played at Red Rocks like a couple months before, or no, the week before. But my point is, besides Zed's Dead playing it, which you kind of expect, you don't really hear that song played all that often anymore, and especially by Bass Nectar. And he played that on his sound system. I'm melted. It was awesome. We got to
How
hear
fucking crazy is Red Rocks?
Oh, dude, Red Rock. Well, he can't play at Red Rocks anymore. He's banned. Like just
Well,
him.
like you can't even get in there. You have to sign up to get that venue like 2 years ahead of time now. It's so overbooked.
Yeah, they have their calendar's nuts. Like I checked their calendar when I moved here a year ago. They already had like all the way through November booked. I'm like, holy shit, dude. But yeah, dude, it's so
Why don't you
funny.
explain what Red Rocks is like.
Yeah. So Red Rocks is fucking epic as fuck. The first show that I ever saw there. So I live about 10 minutes from there. And the first time I ever went there, I was like, I'm going to go just check the venue out and see what's good. I was amazed at the angle that the rocks come out of the ground. So the rocks come out of the mountain at a fucking steep ass, like 45-degree angle. These things are fucking huge, man. They're like the size of buildings, like skyscrapers. And the coolest thing about Red Rocks is it's a naturally formed venue. So they didn't really do anything besides put seating in that lined itself down. But it's cool. It's got the whole like stadium seating amphitheater. And the neat thing about it is the rocks on the side contain like all of the acoustics. So the sound quality in there is really, really nice. And then the first show that I saw there was Rez and Zed's Dead. Amazing, obviously.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever went to a show. And I'll say this, it was awesome, and the acoustic sounded really nice, and I'm in love with Rez, so it was so cool to see her play there and open up for ZZ, and ZZ played a bunch of bangers. And the venue's gorgeous, and we got when Rez came on, it sprinkled a little, and then we got a double rainbow behind the venue, and it was just awesome. And it's like in the top of the mountains, and it overlooks all of Golden, and you can see Denver like way in the background because you're like pretty far away. But my only complaint was there wasn't like much bass at all. And I'm not sure if it's because of the noise restrictions there or if it's because of just the heavy bass that I'm used to going to electronic shows. But I think it was Red Rock's like regulations. But there just wasn't a lot of bass during that show, so that was the only complaint about it. And that leads me
I'd love to go see a show there sometime.
Yeah, dude, they have shows all the time. Like, and even if you don't see a show, it's cool to just go there and check it out. And the first time I did go there without a show, there were people use it to work out. People run up and down the stairs. I'm not talking like one or two people. Like the whole thing is just filled with people in gym clothing, doing push-ups on the steps.
It's a cool thing to do in Colorado.
Yeah, they like gorilla crawl up and down the stairs and everything like that. It's pretty cool, but that leads me to Bass Nectar can't even play there anymore, and it's fucking hilarious. Like the county banned him from playing because he was allegedly shifting rock formations and causing the nearby neighborhoods' houses to shake and rattle with too much. It's good stuff. The amount of
too
like
fucking bad.
the amount of places that like bitch about him and try to ban him is just fucking hysterical. I love it. The one he did in Colorado 2 years ago, fucking kicked his ass out. Well, they didn't kick his ass out, but they had a big thing on the news that was like, it was an earthquake, my windows were shattering, and then I walked outside and realized it was bass. There's a funny video on YouTube that you can check out about it. It's just so funny, like big headliner. Yeah, dude, it's the freestyle sessions is dope. So once again, it's not going to be your huge, like, biggest setup, fucking massive, huge LED screens. It's more of a underground sort of vibe visually, like more of a gathering sort of thing, sort of feeling. Because last year he had like a big circular screen, but that was pretty much the only screen that he had for LEDs besides the thing in front of him. But it was really cool because he had what the fuck is his name? Android Jones come in and did the visuals with a Vive VR, like by hand. You could see him standing there in the booth, in the sound booth, with like the virtual reality mask on, and he had the things in his hands, and he was like moving them around and painting, and everything that he was painting was showing up live on the huge screen behind Bass Nectar. And it was fucking dope. Yeah, it was sick. Like, it was amazing. And he's all like, he just does this crazy psychedelic artwork and has this big program. But I'll tell you one thing that is not skimped at all, and that is the sound. The sound is, he brought it. Like, it was just as loud as any other Bass Nectar show, which is dope. So it'll be interesting to see what his setup is this year, and it'll be really cool to see what kind of stuff he plays. But he's doing the same 3 themes. He's doing freestyle night, dream tempo night, wild style night.
It's gonna be fucking crazy, man. It's gonna be awesome too, just like to get away from here.
Yeah.
And to like check out Colorado, because
yeah.
In like a year or two, I'm looking to try to either move to Portland or Denver, and this will give me a chance to kind of scope out the place, the people, such like that.
Yeah, no, Denver's really cool. This whole area's got some dope ass peeps.
It helps that one of my best friends lives there.
Yeah, that's true. That piece of shit. Piece of dog shit. Speaking of shit, I gotta fucking shit soon. Real soon.
How you feeling the grumblies?
Oh, dude, I've been feeling the grumblies for the past like hour. The coffee and the steak is blowing right through me. Dude, fucking, this is really gross, but I couldn't remember the last time that I gagged wiping my own ass until the other night. So I was sitting I was sitting in a Discord with Modern, and I was just like, "Oh, dude, I got to shit." And then I kind of put it off, and then like 10 minutes went by, and I was like, "Oh, dude, I got to shit." And I ran to the bathroom. Best way to describe it is just pissing out your ass. Like, I straight up was just pissing brown out my butt. And I looked in the toilet at one point, and I was like, "Okay, yeah, that's really bad." And all I saw was this like dark fucking, diarrhea. But then on the top, there was this layer of, how there's like, you can get a nice dark poop, but then you can get the creamy, like light brown peanut butter poop that just looks really gross.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that color, like dog shit peanut butter. And that shit was just, there was this big thick layer just floating on the top, just completely separate from all the other colors. And I grabbed a fucking piece of toilet paper, and I was already like, "Dude, what is that? That color's really nasty. It's just all liquidy." And I went to wipe my ass, and a big chunk of it just fell right onto my thumb. It was like hanging from my ass, I guess. And I just immediately, like, I looked at it on my thumb, I looked in the toilet, and I was just like, ugh! And I like almost puked wiping my own ass. And at that point, I just felt so low about myself. I'm like, dude, I'm actually embarrassed to be like a guy right now. Like, this is really fucking nasty. So I grabbed another piece of toilet paper because the one I had already had shit on it, and started wiping the shit off my thumb, and then threw that in the toilet, and then I had to take more toilet paper and wipe it, and I eventually ended up just scrubbing it with just like wet fucking white. Dude, it was bad. It was not a good time.
That reminds me of this one time back when I was like still really fat. Like I don't know what the fuck I ate, but I was at work and I had this like nasty feeling in my stomach, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's time to go to the bathroom." And I turned around and I went to start walking towards the bathroom, and I got stopped by these people that were like asking me all these questions and stuff. Like, I worked at Lowe's, so people were like, "Oh, what kind of flour would go best with?" I'm like, "Bitch, you need to be quiet. Go ask somebody else, because I'm about to destroy these overalls real quick."
Yeah, the worst is when you get a shit and someone's trying to fucking talk to you. Continue.
Yeah, imagine, and I'm wearing fucking overalls, like in the middle of winter, trying to stay warm and shit. So I finally get out of that conversation, and I like, basically, if you can imagine, like squeezing your butt cheeks together as like hard as you can with your ass muscles, and like speed walking at the same time. Like, you can't bend your knees, so you're like speed walking with completely locked out knees, squeezing your ass cheeks together, and like hurrying to the bathroom. And I had like a 1/4 mile walk. So I hurried up and got to the bathroom, and I'm like, "Oh shit, I gotta like unbuckle these fucking snaps off the top of these overalls and all this stuff." So I like, as I open the door, I'm like taking the top off. Like, I throw it down, I bust open the stall, and like I turn around and I bend over to pull the fucking overalls down. And when I bent over, like, I lost all control of my anal muscles and like pushed on my fat stomach, and just like rocket shit flew out of my ass.
Oh,
Like, splattered the fucking wall.
god damn.
Like, all over the wall, all over the flushing thing, all over the like top of the toilet, like, and a little bit on the toilet seat. And then I like sat, like, it was like all one motion. I like pulled my pants down and bent forward, shit all over the place, and then sat down all at the same time, like in one big motion. And I just like, I had shit all over my back and my ass cheeks and stuff. And I was like, I'm at work.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
This is not a good situation.
So I had that same feeling where it's just like, I don't want to be a person right now. I was like so embarrassed to be a guy. I was like,
I'm embarrassed to be a
if
human.
dying was an option right now, like if I had had a gun on me, I probably would be dead right now, because that was worth killing yourself over for sure. I'm like taking giant wads, like enough wad of a toilet paper to cover like my whole hand and like part of my forearm, so I could just like wipe shit off of my back and my ass.
Yeah.
And stuff. It was fucking gnarly. And I just went home. I didn't say anything to anybody. I didn't even clock out. I just fucking like,
You just left. You
walked
just
out to the parking lot.
You just straight up pieced.
Yeah, I just went to my car and went home and got in the shower and just stood there like, what have I done?
Dude, you know what? You know what's funny? You ever like have to shit somewhere really bad, and you're just trying to hold it, like you're in a car or something, and you're just holding it and you're holding it, and there's so many times where like you're about to fucking blow, but you always hold it in, and you always hold it in. It's like, okay, I got this, I got this, I got this. And then you run into your house and like it just slowly gets worse and looser. And then you get to the toilet and like when you're trying to fucking undo your pants, you're going so fucking fast, you're stumbling on your belt. And the second that your pants go beyond your butthole, it's like perfect fucking timing. Like your brain sees the toilet and just automatically is like, okay, we are now going to relax every sphincter muscle from not only you, but from your mom and your brothers. And everybody's sphincter muscle is just going to be completely loose. I just always found it funny how
Yeah, dude, it's like
timed perfectly.
It's like your asshole knows where the toilet is,
Yep.
and it knows that you're getting closer to it.
Yep. It knows that it's like, okay, we're 10 feet away. All right, everybody, loosen up a little. It's like, we're 5 feet. All right, a little looser. All right, he's loosening the belt. Get ready. Hold. Hold. Fire.
Jesus, dude. It's like Yosemite National Park, just the whole super volcano explodes out of your ass at one time. And those are like the fastest shits ever too, because like by the time you sit down, like 90% of your body's empty.
Yep.
Like, now it's time to. He sat down. Time to wipe. I didn't even get to look at fucking Instagram. Like,
Yeah,
what happened?
dude. That's the thing with shits though. Like my average shit is probably 15 to 20 minutes, somewhere in that range. And I would say within the first 20 seconds, I'm already done pooping. Like I sit down and it's just everything's out. And then it's just, okay, now we're just going to chill for the next 20 minutes. Let's do some shit. Maybe we'll let out a couple farts. Maybe there's like a rogue turd that tried to go the opposite direction, trying to visit the North Pole where you're going to fucking get him out. You never know.
Couple dead gerbils.
Couple dead gerbils. You know what's the worst when what the fuck was I going to say? I'm thinking about two different stories right now. Oh, the worst is when you take a shit and you think you're done shitting and you're all good and you're pushing, and then you wipe and then you stand up and you flush. And do you ever just have that feeling where like you put your pants back on, you're washing your hands, and you just gotta shit again immediately? like
Yeah,
it's
dude,
just,
you take one step out of the bathroom and you're like, God damn it.
yeah, you're just like that really uncomfortable, like there's still a lump in your asshole and you're just like, oh, and it's really weird. And you always try to like you sit down carefully, like nice and slowly on a chair, and you slowly ease your ass onto the seat, and you're just like, ooh, dude, everything's all fucking burny back there still. And those are the worst.
Every time I eat pepperoni, I'll get done, I'll walk out, like, God, I gotta go again. And then I'll go, and then it'll happen a third time. And by that time, you've already wiped your ass so many times that it's like you're peeling off layers of fucking anal skin. It's the worst. Fuck pepperonis.
Yeah, pepperonis are. Dude, were you in my stream the other day when I told the wedding story?
I don't think so.
When I shit my pants at a wedding, like this summer, just a couple months.
No.
Yeah, I don't think I've told this one on a podcast, so I'm gonna retell it. But basically, one of my best friends, Kareem, got married over in Pennsylvania. I moved to Colorado, and he had a wedding, and it was in what the fuck was it? August 26th, so my buddy's birthday. So I go to this wedding. I'm talking to him beforehand, and I'm just like, yeah, dude, like, what kind of food do you get and what kind of drinks? And he's telling me some shit. And then he goes, all right, well, I told Brittany, which was the bride, he's like, I promised her that you wouldn't, like, whip out your balls or anything like that. Like, I think it's funny how one of my best friend's biggest concern about me going to his wedding is that he thinks that I'm going to whip my cock out for, like, his family. He's like, all right, dude, just control your drinking. Like, don't get too drunk. Don't, like, my family's going to be here from Poland. Like, my mom's going to be here. Like, just don't do anything stupid. And I was like, all right, man, I promise to do my very best to just not make a complete fool out. So I show up at the wedding, and weddings are free drinks. And what does he have? He has fucking IPAs, India Pale Ales, which are which is my
Oof.
favorite type of beer, but it's also an extremely high alcohol content. So if you drink, like, even somebody that is an avid beer drinker, you drink like 4 of these babies and you're feeling it like pretty good already just off of 4 beers, because these things are like 9% alcohol. So I start pound. I looked at him. I was like, dude, fuck you for having IPAs to drink. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, cause you know that I'm gonna be drinking all night, and I'm obviously gonna choose an IPA over something else. So like, I'm just gonna be drinking IPAs all night. Fucking goddamn it. This was the only wedding that I had ever gone to that I don't remember anything after dinner. So like, I remember sitting down for dinner, and then I remember, like, vaguely remember getting the food and like making jokes with people at my table, and I don't remember anything after that. Nothing. Don't remember any dancing, fucking speech, nothing, dude. Just complete blackout. And and I wake up in the morning and I'm on like a cot. So I guess in hotels you can call down and you can say, hey, we have somebody sleeping with us, but we're sleeping in the bed. And they'll bring up like a little fucking military cot and they'll make a bed for you and everything. So I wake up on this thing and I'm really confused. I have no idea where I am. And I look around and I look over at the bed and I see like finally some comfort. I see my fucking Justin sleeping there with his girlfriend. I'm like, oh, thank God. Okay. I'm like in a comfortable area. And I'm still full suit, like tie, shirt, everything. And I'm like, man, I gotta fucking shit. So I so I go to the bathroom and I sit down on the toilet and like I start trying to shit and I know I have to shit. And I'm pushing out, like I'm pushing as hard as I can, and like nothing's coming out, like no shit's coming out. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, and I'm like pushing, it's like it's blocked, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I take a toilet paper and I go to wipe my ass, and all that I feel is just like caked, dried, just massive clumps of dried shit all over the inside of my ass, like completely dried and crusted. And it's blocking my asshole. Like, picture like putting just a big thread of shit over your asshole, so any turd that tries to come out of your ass just gets immediately cock blocked by dry shit and tries to like split it into two. And I'm like, fuck. So I start screaming. I'm like, dude, I fucking shit myself. And I look in my underwear and there's shit all in my underwear. And I take my underwear out and I ended up throwing the underwear away. And I fold the suit pants up. And I jump into the shower and I was like, dude, I gotta fucking take this shit out of my ass. So I jump in the shower and start taking like tons of soap, like just lathering up tons of soap and just soaping it up back there, and then just grabbing and just ripping dried shit hair from my asshole, just chunks and chunks. And I'm screaming. I'm like, ow, ow, fuck, like, dude, it hurts so fucking bad. And it took like 10 minutes to get it all out of my ass. Felt very low about myself once again. And I packed up the suit and threw it in a garbage bag and tied it up real tight, threw the underwear out, put some other like just t-shirt and shorts on. And then my mom picked me up and she came outside and she's like, well, how was your night? And I was like, knowing full well that I just grabbed shit hair out of my ass. And I was like, oh, it was fine. It was fun. I had a couple drinks, but it was a fun night, Mom. I'm not going to go into too much detail.
Your mom is like the sweetest human on earth. I can't imagine having to tell her all of that.
Nah, never. Nah, she's nice. She has she's a nice lady. Sure.
You want another shit story? You want to move on?
Whatever, dude.
Well, like I have one slightly funny one. Back when I used to work at Lowe's for a while, I worked in delivery, and we delivered like appliances and stuff into people's houses. And one time, like in the dead of winter, we had this delivery like way out in the middle of nowhere, and these people got a new washer and dryer. And this was back when I ate really bad, and I mean, like had diarrhea probably 90% of the time. I'd shit like 4 or 5 times a day, every day. Like clearly unhealthy, but
Yeah.
whatever. Um, so we start on this delivery and everything's cool. Like we take their old washer and dryer out and put it in the back of our truck, and we're like bringing the new ones in. And I was like, I went from like 100% fine to like DEFCON 5. If I don't find a bathroom
Mm.
in the next 5 minutes, I'm
Mm.
gonna need a whole new wardrobe. Like,
Mm.
It's just like that little. There's like a shelf in your colon where like once we get past this shelf, you're in danger,
Yeah,
and
it's fucking
literally
done.
a
Pandora's
giant
box is
pile
open.
of shit. Yeah, just a giant pile just hit that shelf and like blew through it and was like already touching my anus. So I was like, dude. I looked over at my coworker. I was like, dude, we have to figure something out right fucking now. Or we're gonna have a fucking problem. And like, all right, so my options were pretty limited. We're out in the middle of nowhere. There's nowhere I could just like run across the street to a gas station or anything like that too. And it was like extremely against our policy to ask the customer if we could use their bathroom, especially if you had to shit. And like my shits peel paint. Like I can't just
Oh.
shit in a customer's bathroom and just brush it off like nothing happened. Like they would have to like they'd have to call in a cleaning crew to get rid of the smell for sure. So I'm like looking at him like, dude, what the fuck am I gonna do? I can't shit in their house or too far away from anywhere for me to do anything about it. So he's like, well, I guess you're just gonna have to go shit in the woods. And I was like, nah, dude, I got a better idea. We already have their old washer and dryer in our truck. I'll just knock one of them over, flip the top open, and just drop trow and take a shit in their old washer and dryer. Well, the thing is, like, typically when we take olds, like old washers and dryers and shit, we put it in this trailer where we keep it, and then they send it off to get like scrapped or whatever. But if like it's full, sometimes we have to set them outside, and like the meth heads in town will come and steal them to try to make a little bit of meth money. So I was like, what I'll do is we'll just set it outside like the trailer's full. Some meth head will come and take it, and he'll have to deal with it. Like I don't care if a dealer has to deal with a giant pile of my nasty shit.
He
Like
deals with
it's
worse.
fine. Exactly. So like I got in the back of the truck. I was like, if they come out here, just distract them, tell them, you know, I'm on the phone with our boss or whatever. So we closed the door to the back of the truck, and I'm like fully dressed down. It's like 2 degrees outside, so I got, you know, like long johns. I had a full body long john suit on, like the ones you see in westerns and shit. That
Yeah.
had like the shit flap in the back, but I
Yep.
also had boxers on under that. That's very key to the story that I had boxers on as well.
All
So
right.
I like take my coat off, take my hoodie off, undo the overalls, pull those down, and I'm just thinking, all right, I'll pop up on here, open the ass flap, and let her rip. I got some paper towels back here. I'll wipe her down. We'll be good to go. So I
Don't
jump
tell me.
up on the fucking
Go ahead. God damn it.
dude. I forgot I was wearing boxers.
God damn it. God.
So I jump up on top of it and spread the ass flap, and I just dropped like a 4 pound load right in my boxers. And it was like, if you were looking up at it inside the washer, you just see like it hanging down like 4 inches. Just
Ew, like a fucking
underwear.
like a stork carrying a baby, dude.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, oh shit, at least none of it's touched me. So I just like reached back and I pulled the boxers down and like flipped them inside out, like, and just dump, it's like you open up a soft taco and just dump the meat out.
Ew, dude.
I just flipped it over and like smashed it down into the washer.
God
So
damn it.
I get it all. Like I take the boxers off. I throw them in there too because I'm like those are ruined. There's like a little bit of shit on me, so I wipe that off and I get everything dressed back up. Well, halfway through all this process, I hear like the owner of the house come out and he's like, "Hey, what's the hang up? You guys, everything okay?" Because he was like concerned that like there was something wrong with his new stuff. And my coworker's out there. He's just like, yeah, he just needs a minute." I'm like, dude, that is the worst excuse I've ever fucking heard. The guy's like, all right, well, let me know if I can do anything. And he went away. I was like, thank God. He did not ask me questions. So I get done and I go up and I lift the door up and like he's just standing there and we look at each other and there's just this moment of like, that was fucking ridiculous. So we both just like died laughing.
Oh,
I got
dude.
dressed up. No, we finished the delivery, right? And we're concerned the whole time that they're going to change their mind and say they wanted to keep their old stuff. So that was like in the forefront of my mind, like, please do not say you want to keep your old stuff, because if they want to keep it, we're fucked. Because there is a giant pile of peanut butter shit in their washing machine right now, and that would be a problem.
Yeah.
But we got through the delivery, everything was cool. They signed, we left. Well, we get about 5 miles down the road. We're like half an hour from the store. It was our last delivery of the day, and boom, our truck breaks down.
Mm.
So we're stuck on the side of the fucking road. We actually ended up being able to roll into a gas station. We rolled into this gas station. We're sitting there and we like called our boss. We're like, "Hey, our truck broke down." He's like, "All right, I'll send a wrecker and they'll take the truck to a place to get repaired and I'll come pick you up." And we're just sitting there waiting and we're like bullshitting and whatnot. And I like both of us remembered at the exact same time that we have a washing machine full of hot steamy shit in the back of our truck and that it's about to get towed to a place to get fixed for God knows how long. So I was like, dude, what the fuck are we gonna do? Like they're gonna find out and I'm gonna get in trouble. And like I was just concerned that I was gonna get fired. So I was like, well, there's only one thing I can do, dude. I'm gonna have to go back there and scoop all the shit out of that washer.
Dude, it's just a shitty situation.
It's horrible. I just, in my mind, like my job's on the line. So either I stick my arm in this washing machine full of shit and scoop it out, or I'm fucked and I don't have a job. So like I go into this gas station. I was like, "Hey, do you guys have any like grocery bags or anything?" She's like, "Sure." She just gave me like 2 grocery bags. I'm like, "Cool, thanks." And I just looked. I didn't even want to look at her. So I go outside and he's standing at the back of the truck watching me. And I open up the washer and like this putrid, like it was like 5-day-old hot rotten meat just hit me right in the face. And I turned my face over like to face him to look at him and be like, "Ew," but the words didn't even leave my mouth and I just fucking barfed all over the floor.
What the fuck?
It was so bad, but I had to push through. I had to keep my job. So I like slid this Walmart bag over my arm and like grabbed a bunch of paper towels and stuck my arm in and just looked away. And my other hand, I'm like plugging my nose and I stuck my hand in and I just like scooped as much as I could out and I brought it out. And like, it was like running down the bag, which would have touched my arm if the bag wasn't there, which would have been a whole nother fucking scenario. But I just got shit all over and I'm looking at it and like I turned the bag inside out and tied it off and I looked inside and I was like, that's pretty much all of it. So I just like closed the washer and I took the bag and I started shaking it and he was like dry heaving because it was like so nasty smelling. So I just like threw it at him and it hit him and then he puked.
Oh God. This is a series of unfortunate shitty events, like pun totally intended. What would you do to save your job? Would you scrub shit out of a dryer to save your job? Underdog would.
Exactly. Well, after all that, I like grabbed the bag of shit off the ground. That also had my underwear in it, by the way, which would have been a dead giveaway that it was me, because like who else wears 3X large fucking boxers?
a stork
So I grabbed
saddle.
the bag. Yeah, and I like started walking towards where their dumpster would be, and I noticed like 2/3 of the way there that there's no fucking dumpster there. So now I have nowhere to throw this thing. I look back at him and he realized that there was no dumpster too, and like he started laughing. So like, what the hell am I gonna do now? So I just threw it on the roof of the gas station. And
I wonder if it's still there to this day. If it's just plastered flat on the roof from all the rain and weather, but it's still there. There's still a mark, like how gum dries on the sidewalk and leaves an everlasting mark. There might be somewhere.
I like to think it's still there, but
yeah, hell yeah.
I don't know. It's
Dude,
been a few years.
Bro, you basically gave birth to 2 babies. You gave birth to twins. Brown twins.
Yeah.
I mean, what does a baby weigh when it comes out? Well, not actually, no. Babies weigh like 8 pounds, 9 pounds.
Yeah.
Dude, that's insane.
Like, the worst thing was...
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The worst part was, after everything was over, like, our boss came, and we're all sitting in this truck with the heat on, like, and it was one of those ones where it's, like, only a front seat. It's like a bench seat, so all 3 of us are, like, shoulder to shoulder, bunch of big dudes, and, we're sitting there waiting for the tow truck to come to take our truck away, and my coworker is sitting there like dropping hints that like, oh man, this is such a shitty situation. He'd like elbow me. He's like, isn't this some shit, man? It's like a big old bag of shit. I'm like, you shut the fuck up. I'm gonna punch you in the face.
Oh
yeah.
my
Nobody
shit.
ever found out. Like they took it and repaired it, and it came back, and the washer still was there with like little traces of shit in it.
Dude,
Like
you never
I
know.
didn't want to open it.
Maybe somebody
I
will
was
listen to
afraid to
this and
open
they'll hear it and be like, dude, that was me.
it. I don't know, but it was pretty fucked up.
Sounds fucked up. Ain't nobody trying to deal with shit, even if it's your own shit.
No, like that's. I didn't think it was possible to throw up off your own shit, but apparently, if you let it sit in the back of a truck for 2 hours, then it'll get you.
Dude, you know what's the worst word to describe shit? The one that just makes it sound gross. Like, it can be stinky, steamy, it just hot. Like, when you described your shit, it's like a big old hot dump. Like, just thinking of shit still steaming and still, like, the same temperature as your body, maybe, like, 96 degrees instead of 98. Like, ugh. Yeah. You just
It does
know
put
that
some
if
nasty visuals in your head.
you just know that if like a big chunk of it fell on the back of your hand, it would you just feel like this this heat like a hand warmer. Not good.
Pretty gnarly.
I do have to shit though very soon, so we might have to wrap this up at some point.
That's cool, man. We can wrap it up.
Yeah, because my multiple times I've done the thing where like I had to squeeze so hard and just like pray that the sensation of the shit coming out of my ass doesn't actually occur.
I don't want what happened to me to happen to you.
Yeah,
all over your own personal bathroom. That would be the worst.
and I'm getting the moves to I don't know, like the uneasy where you got to keep like moving and shifting your body weight around. You know what I mean? Ugh. But yeah, dude. So I think we'll wrap it up. We'll have more talks in the future, sure.
Oh yeah, there's no shortage of bullshit for us to talk about.
I know. But yeah, dead. I appreciate the chit chat. I had a good time. You had a good time. We
100%.
should hook up.
Dude, it'd be cool if we could do one face to face this summer. Like record one over the
Yeah,
weekend.
we definitely
like
could.
The first or second show.
Definitely could. I feel like if I did a
That'd be cool.
face to face, I would do video with it.
Sure. Yeah.
No. But yeah, cool. I hope everybody had a good time listening. Mr. Underdog here. I'll probably
Hey,
link
by the way,
fucking-
Death, if you're still listening, Death, I didn't mean it. I love you. And I would never say mean things about you because he messaged me on Facebook and was very upset.
He did message you? What, like during this?
Yeah, he called me out. He never actually called me a fat piece of shit. He just made me feel bad for getting drunk when I was dieting.
Yeah.
And I don't dislike him. I actually like him a lot.
Same. I guess I like him. He's alright. He's alright, everybody. I'll see you guys next time. Any last words, Mr. Underdog?
I love all of you. And death to gingers.
Death to gingers. Wow. Mine's gonna like. Ow. Yep. Peace.